It's October baseball. It's crisp in the air. Ready to go for this iconic rivalry. My goodness, Aaron Judge, goodbye. Sanchez in the air, left field, and this one's gone. There's a drive in the left center field. 3-run blast out of Fenway Park. This American League postseason has made its way back to New York. Times Square is all aglow on this Monday night. The famous 4 train leads you right to the front door of majestic Yankee Stadium. It's the hottest ticket in town, and hyped up Yankee fans are ready to roar for this matchup of rivals. 2018 American League Division Series is presented by T-Mobile, with a series all tied at 1 game apiece. Game 3 tonight. The Boston Red Sox, winners of the American League East, and the New York Yankees, the wild card champions this season. And hi everybody, with that we welcome you from Yankee Stadium. Great to have you with us tonight. I'm Brian Anderson along with Ron Darling. We'll hear from Lauren Shahadi in just a moment. This series is all even at 1 game apiece, and you get to this point of the postseason now, you start to find out who the prime time players are, and it would appear that the New York Yankees the last 2 seasons have found one in Aaron Judge.
You know, when you think of Aaron Judge, he is a transformative type of talent, and he's the kind of player, as you see, when he gets off to the kind of start he has this postseason, you have a feel, not science, but a feel that he's a guy that could put this entire Yankees team on his prodigious back. He is this generation's Derek Jeter for the New York Yankees.
Bold statement right there, but he has homered 6 times in his first 8 postseason games. Now, the Boston Red Sox have made a little bit of an adjustment in their starting rotation. Rick Porcello will go for Game 4. That puts Nathan Ivaldi up for Game 3 here tonight. The former Yankee, and for more on that story, we check in with Lauren. Lauren?
Yeah, BA, 6 days before the trade deadline, the Boston Red Sox clubhouse door swings wide open. Who comes in? Nate Ivaldi, who Alex Cora told me he hoped would give him depth. Like you said, he was a Yankee a couple years ago. He was released by the team, had a second Tommy John surgery, then he wanted to come back, but the Yankees didn't share that sentiment. They didn't want him back. He ends up eventually in Boston, and as a Red Sox this season against the Yankees, 0 earned runs in 16 innings of work, so perhaps some extra motivation there. Aaron Hicks' former teammate singing his praises, says, watch out for the cutter. 88 miles per hour, tops out at 97, and you never know where it's going to end up. He said he didn't have that when he was with us. He's a different guy, BA.
Yeah, and he was hurt back then, right? Pitching in pain, so he gets the big start. He'll be comfortable on this mound. He's pitched here 25 times in his career, 24 starts. So that's the one change Alex Cora made with the rotation, but he's the first manager in this series to kind of rewrite his lineup as well. He's got some changes in there tonight.
Well, he did. He shook up the lineup. He wants to get some more production in this right field at Yankee Stadium. Of course, anyone has a shot to hit it deep. He's got 2 more left-handed at bats, Brock Holt and Rafael Devers.
Alex Cora and Aaron Boone, the 2 first-year managers. And these 2 franchises matching up for the first time in a division series round. Both managers have played it well thus far. Series all tied at 1 apiece. It's Betts, Benintendi, and Martinez at the top. Bogarts, who homered in Game 2. Rafael Devers gets his first start. Then Steve Pearce, Brock Holt, Christian Vasquez, Jackie Bradley Jr. Mitch Moreland had that tight hamstring. He is on the active roster still, but he will be coming off the bench here today. Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach of the Yankees, having a word with Luis Severino, who was a little late getting down to the bullpen here tonight. 7:32 before he delivered his first pitch. It's time to play ball, Ron.
If you read lips, pitching coach Larry Rothschild told him, said 7:40. Almost like maybe Severino didn't know it was a 7:40 start. Not that he had to rush through his warm-up, but it's always uneven when he went out there at 7:32. Very late for a starter to go on the mound. But defensively behind Severino, as you can see what they've had in the outfield since Aaron Hicks has had that strain and that hamstring. Gardner in center, McCutchen and Judge flanked him, and Duhar, Gregorius, Torres, and Voight in the infield, and Gary Sanchez. I talked a lot about Judge. He's had his moments also, especially in Game 2.
And Luis Severino has made his way to the dugout now. You see the mist that is coming down. That's going to be part of the story here tonight. It's like walking through a spring training game in Phoenix, Arizona, right? The misters are on, except the temperatures are in the mid to upper 60s here tonight. It's nothing that's more than a nuisance, but it is going to be part of the story because the mist, they say, at least those who know such things, it's going to be on and off throughout the night here, the next 4 or 5 hours.
The only time this would present a problem for a pitcher, if it was cold. It'd be really hard to get a feel for the ball. But it's humid, it's warm enough, should be no distraction for the pitchers.
Listen to this crowd at Yankee Stadium. They were rocking in the wild card game. And they are ready to roar here once again tonight. They get their second home game in the postseason. And the ovations as they brought the players out for the introductions, which they do in the first home game of each round, were raucous. And you know who got the loudest ovation of the night? The Red Sox left-hander David Price, which was very interesting, which tells you these Yankee fans are on their A game here tonight.
Well, you see the numbers for Severino. A lot of that good work was done in the first half. He got better as the second half went on, especially in September. But I spent a lot of time in the open there talking about Aaron Judge and putting this Yankee team on his prodigious back. The leadoff hitter for the Boston Red Sox, Mookie Betts, had 2-3 home run games. He hit for a cycle one game, had some magic all season long, which is probably going to culminate in an MVP. He needs to be the spark plug to get the Yankees offense, get the Red Sox offense going.
Mookie Betts in this series is 1 for 7. Did have a double. The Red Sox won game 1. They jumped out early, 5-0 in that game behind their left-handed ace Chris Sale. JD Martinez had a 3-run homer. Betts, Benintendi, Pearce, and Bogarts all contributed in manufacturing runs, and that's really what Alex Cora wants his team to do more. He doesn't manage any differently here, he said, at Yankee Stadium. Even though the home run ball is a big part of playing games here, they want to get things moving. They want to run. They want to go first to third and play a little bit of small ball here.
They've got to get some people on base. Remember two things right here as we see Betts comes to the plate. .419 average at Yankee Stadium this year, and Severino in that wild card game almost exclusively fastballs in the first inning.
Red Sox won game 1, Yankees won game 2. A travel day yesterday. We play ball tonight at Yankee Stadium for game 3 of this ALDS. Great to have you with us. And Mookie Betts into center field on the first pitch sends Gardner back to the track. He'll make the catch. Long, loud fly ball out by Mookie Betts. And this one starts with a bang for Severino and the Yankees. I'm sure that put his heart in his throat a little bit.
You see Mookie shaking his head. You can't hit it more on the nose than that. Probably the only part of this ballpark the ball doesn't go out.
And one away for Severino in the wild card game, which he pitched so well in 4+ innings. He came out in that first inning just blowing the fastball. 9 out of his 10 pitches, and they were all 96+. And that one is 96 right on the corner on Andrew Benintendi, the Red Sox #2 hitter.
Well, this might be the best matchup for the Red Sox of this evening. Benintendi 11 for 27 with a couple of home runs against Severino.
Benintendi with 2 hits in the series in the first 2 games. That's a little jam shot into center field. And 2 up and 2 down for Severino. Brett Gardner having a chat with some of his bullpen mates here. The bullpen catcher, I'm not sure what he needs. Maybe a towel or something. Not sure, but the news is in progress down the channels. The bullpen phones have been worn out. Usually it's from that way out to the bullpen in this postseason. We'll keep an eye on that. Here's JD Martinez now with 2 away in this first inning. He had the signature moment for the Red Sox thus far in this series. a first inning 3-run home run in Game 1 at Fenway. One of the greatest rivalries in all of sports. Nothing sneaks by the fan bases. They don't like each other. They played 19 times during the regular season. Boston won 10 of those 19. I think Aaron Boone is on his way out. What do you have here,
I think
Ron?
what they're doing is they're trying to get Gardner some glasses because of this misting. Probably has some problem with his eyes, but Gardner told him play ball. He'll get it in between innings.
All right.
There you go on the camera lens. That's what it looks like.
There's a lot of lens wipes here tonight for our crew in the mist. A ball and a strike on Martinez. Severino misses inside. That's a crew chief back there calling balls and strikes, by the way, Mike Winters. He is a man who has officiated 4 World Series, 6 League Championship Series. He's been a part now of his 11th Division Series. And a swing and a foul, and it's 2-2 on the changeup from Severino.
Remember in Game 1, a big out with runners on first and second, a fly ball or line drive to right field that stayed in Fenway Park. 18 opposite field home runs this year for JD Martinez. He can hit a home run coast to coast.
Severino didn't show many fastballs early against the Oakland A's in the wild card game. He started to break them out second inning and then more so in the third. It was mostly fastball from Severino. See Bogaerts waiting to hit next, hoping for a chance here in the top of the first. Full count. And it is ball 4, and JD Martinez draws the walk, and the Red Sox with a man on with 2 away.
Well, that was a big league at bat. 2 pitches just off the corner, inside early in that at bat, and just off the corner with that good cutting fastball from Severino there.
And that will get Xander Bogaerts to the plate in this first inning. The Red Sox cleanup hitter had a monster year this year. 2 hits in his career against Severino, just 2 for 24 lifetime. Did have a home run for Boston in Game 2, one of the few bright spots offensively.
So you were talking about pitch usage in this first inning. So much different for Severino, using all 3 of his pitches to try to get through the first.
A formidable lineup with the Red Sox, constructed differently than the Yankees lineup. They do hit home runs. They're in the upper third in the league, in the American League this year in home runs, but they have the speed game as well. They'll see a lot of pitches. They try to take advantage on the base paths whenever they can. That's really been the biggest change with Boston from this year to last. I think Alex Cora has offered a lot of green light opportunities for the Red Sox. First time ever in Major League Baseball postseason history you got a matchup of first-year managers, and both managers with triple-digit wins this year. There's a strike right at the bottom of the zone for Severino, and it's 2-1 on Bogaerts. Aaron Boone, his Yankees 100 wins. Cora's Red Sox 108 victories this season.
We've seen this a lot, haven't we? Batters getting in, getting locked in, and then stepping out. It's almost like they have not thought it through enough.
Now, that was a common practice in Game 2. And a swing and a foul tip. Maybe one of the more memorable images from this postseason was about a step out from Gary Sanchez, who then drew some words from Ryan Brazier. Barked him back into the box.
Get in the box, I think.
Later in that game, Sanchez would hit a 3-run home run in Game 2. Packed house on their feet. 2-2 the count, 2 outs in the first. We're just underway. Right off the end of the bat, left center field. Gardner is on the way, and He's got it for the out. That ball had some carry to it. Didn't get it on the barrel, but Bogaerts flies out to end the inning. 3 F8s is how we start tonight. Here's how Aaron Boone lines up the New York Yankees tonight for Game 3. Andrew McCutchen leads away. Aaron Judge, then Luke Voight. In the middle goes Stanton, Didi Gregorius, and Gary Sanchez. Miguel Andujar, Gleyber Torres, and Brett Gardner will round out the starting 9 for the Yankees. The 2-homer game from Gary Sanchez, the big star in Game 2. Nathan Ivaldi on the mound, the 28-year-old former Yankee. And now getting a start in the postseason, Ronnie, which will be his first ever postseason appearance.
His first 2 starts after being acquired from Boston. 7 shutout innings against the Minnesota Twins, 8 shutout innings against the New York Yankees. And keep this in mind, his pitch usage of the cutter all year was around 32%. August 4th, when he made that first start against the Yankees, it was 45%.
He is a hard-throwing right-hander, and his first bullet out of the bullpen is 99 miles an hour to Andrew McCutchen. Away we go in the bottom of the first. Nathan Ivaldi is pitching on his 9th day. He's had 8 days rest. He had 2 surgeries on his elbow. Had the Tommy John surgery, the ulnar collateral ligament, and had the flexor tendon surgery as well. So those 2 surgeries simultaneously, the reason why he was down for nearly 18 months.
Fastball to start, cutter on the second pitch, high fastball right there.
One ball, 2 strikes on Andrew McCutchen with a couple of hits in this postseason. Drove in his first postseason run in Game 2. There's the splitter from Ivaldi. And the count 2-2. We saw between innings Andrew McCutchen and Brett Gardner both changing their shoes, like a football scenario.
Yeah, I was wrong. I thought it would be glasses maybe in this misty rain, but it was maybe some longer spikes.
Going with the 9-inch nails. Here's a 2-2, and McCutchen doesn't bite. That is a wicked cut fastball. Yeah, both players going to the metal spikes. It looked to us like Brett Gardner anyway had tennis shoes basically on with the little nubs on the bottom. So with the wet surface out there, maybe a difference. It was a bouncing ball, and that'll be a wet baseball. Devers makes a good throw for out number 1.
You know what? You'll see a lot of players today, especially the players in the outfield. Those shoes look like they wouldn't even be acceptable to play in weather like this. That's why they went to the spikes.
Yeah. Normally the fields are so manicured, right? You hardly need to worry about it, but on this night they're taking measures to prevent. So here is Aaron Judge. Judge with 7 hits already this postseason, playing in his 4th game here tonight. Homered in the first inning of the wild card game, and that's how the Yankees postseason would start.
Hey.
He has already proven himself to be a clutch performer in his first couple of years in postseason play. They rise often when Judge is at the plate, even missing 2 months plus this year. Aaron Judge with 27 home runs. A ring up from first base umpire Angel Hernandez, and it's no balls and 2 strikes on Judge. Catcher Vasquez asking for a couple of shakeoffs. Now Ivaldi deals. Didn't get him to bite. Let's check in with Lauren. She's got more on Aaron Judge.
Brian, after the win in Game 2, Aaron Judge walked by the Red Sox clubhouse playing, you guessed it, New York, New York. Aaron Boone was asked about it. He said it's a good song. And Aaron is one of our resident DJs. He's got an extensive playlist. We like to hear that one when we win a big game. I saw it. I think it's fun, just good-natured. Then he was asked, what if a Boston player walked past your clubhouse playing Sweet Caroline? He said, shockingly, I actually like that song too.
He may learn to hate it before this is all over with, but yeah, that was a big scene, and that kind of answered the social media posts with Aaron Judge as a high schooler wearing a Boston t-shirt. You know, it's all out there. It's all been fun, and this rivalry is so great because of all of that as well. Shame it's just a 5-game series for these two teams. 2-2 is grounded foul. Count will remain 2 balls 2 strikes on Judge with 1 away here in the first.
As you can see with both pitchers, they're trying to establish all 3 of their pitches in the first inning. I think the approach in a Yankee lineup, which is very unusual from the past when they had a lot of left-handed hitters, mostly right-handed hitters, I think they have to look for the cutter away, and they have to look to shoot that ball up the middle or to right field. They'll be more effective that way.
Judge has a home run to right field already in this series at Fenway, and a swing and a foul right off the end of the bat.
You know, Ivaldi, because of those injuries, because of the elbow issues, he pitches better with the more rest he gets. That only makes sense.
Well, his ERA 6 days or more of rest, 0.36. 6 days or more, and he's pitching on 8 days rest here tonight. Last outing was the 29th of September, went 2 innings against the Yankees. Here's a 2-2 and a swing and a foul back into the screen.
Judge, after coming back from the wrist injury, was not effective, struggled, only hit 1 home run coming down the stretch. But boy, has he healed and gotten better at the right time.
Now 3 home runs in the first 3 games. Matches a Yankees record to start a postseason in their franchise history. And he flicks one down the right field line. Foul. And it'll stay at 2-2.
What makes that cutter so effective from Ivaldi is that he kind of is a crossfire thrower anyway. So against right-handers, he's got that 3/4 arm action that kind of starts right at the right-handed hitter, and it'll cut across the plate. Makes them give in a little bit with that front side.
Been a new wrinkle for him. Didn't throw it at all until the 16 season when he was a Yankee. And as he's come back from the 2 elbow surgeries, he has developed that pitch in his game even more so. Traded from the Tampa Bay Rays to the Red Sox in late July for a left-handed pitcher, Jalen Bex. And now pitching Game 3 of this American League Division Series. Here's a 2-2. And Judge lines one. A shot to right. And it's going to be caught by Betts. He ran right to the spot and makes the play for out number 2.
That's just a line drive. Launch angle changes that whole thing. But right now, the two best players on the field, Mookie Betts and Aaron Judge, out on 2 line drives. That's the good approach, I think, against Ivaldi. Hit the ball that way.
And he hits a rocket into the glove of the 2-time Gold Glove Award winner, Mookie Betts. Even Judge's outs are firm outs at this point. He is seeing it well. So 2 men are gone. Here is Luke Voight now. This is another Yankee hitter with great opposite field power. And just as in Boston, every fly ball that goes to left field toward the monster, you kind of hold your breath. Just the opposite here in right field at Yankee Stadium with that short porch in right center. And Luke Voight has a swing and an approach tailor-made for this ballpark. And he comes up empty, and it's 0-2. Bat slipped out of his hand.
Very unusual. Batters who that bat slips out of their hand usually go grab some more pine tar.
And a swing and a miss. A 100-mile-an-hour fastball to end the inning. Ivaldi with a good start for Alex Cora and the Red Sox. We're off and running at Yankee Stadium. Game 3, American League Division Series on TBS. A reminder that you can follow every postseason moment with At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. It's the only place to get it all. Live radio feeds, video highlights, pitch tracking, StatCast, much more. Download MLB At Bat today. Underway in the second inning, Luis Severino facing Rafael Devers to start. Devers, Pearce, and Holt. These are the change window, the change lane for Alex Cora in his lineup here tonight, with Devers making his first start. burst onto the scene last season, had some great moments, including some moments here at Yankee Stadium, and a cut and a miss at a 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
What I did tell you is that they made the changes with Devers and Holt. What I didn't tell you, they're both 1 for 27 combined against Severino.
Yeah, Devers is 0 for 12 in his career against Severino. And we asked Alex Cora about that. He likes this opportunity tonight. Looks like CC Sabathia tomorrow for the Yankees. This would be the chance to get his left-handers a start tonight, like Devers and Holt. And you'll notice that Steve Pearce is in the lineup. Mitch Moreland, who pulled up with a little tightness in the hamstring in Game 2 of this division series, he is on the active roster still available, just not in the starting lineup. But they'd like to buy him a day or two if possible. Can still pinch hit. Devers fights that one all foul. Down and in slider, and it's 3-2.
I don't know if it was the wild card game or because this is the third game, but when Severino started that wild card game, he looked like he pitched 4 closer innings with so much emotion. More under control here for this third game.
Yeah, he looks like a starter for the long game. There's a shot down the right field line. That's going to get to the wall. Devers will turn and head to second base. Now he holds up. The great throwing arm of Judge scared him right back to the bag. And Judge fired a strike to second base. And a wise move by Rafael Devers, who collects his first career hit against Luis Severino.
Well, fastball up and in that he turns on. Hit it so hard and played so well by Judge off the wall that he really thought it was a double. It's not like he put extra into the throw. Just an example to me that the Red Sox not being as aggressive as they were during the regular season.
Judge is just playing a different kind of game than you're used to seeing in the major leagues. Holt looked like that was a Sunday lob into second base, and it was on a line all the way in the air. So Steve Pearce now getting a chance against a right-handed starter. He's normally in the platoon at first base with Mitch Moreland. Did make some starts against right-handers in September for Boston to prepare for a moment like this. Devers took a few steps and said, nope, start an inning. Don't want to get blown up at second base.
Well, remember, it's a wet track, too, you know. Red Sox in this series so far 4 for 23 with runners on base. And you talked about Pearce getting some starts against right-handed pitching. Does have a home run off Severino this season.
And Pearce had an RBI single in Game 1 off a right-hander, Chad Green. That was the game Boston chased Jay Happ early. 5 homers last 21 at-bats against the Yankees. Steve Pearce, who grew up a die-hard Red Sox fan, thrilled to be in this series. The 1-2. Good block back there by Sanchez.
Got that wide-legged approach. Catches it right in the heel of the glove, or blocks it with the heel of that glove.
Another one smothered by Sanchez. Devers has to stay put. Sanchez, the star offensively for Game 2. A multi-homer game. And one of them hasn't landed yet. 479-foot home run, a 3-run blast. That was a game breaker for New York. 3-2 the count. Severino deals. Devers goes. A swing and a miss. Sanchez lost the handle. And so it'll be a stolen base for Devers. A strikeout for Severino for the first out of the inning. And Devers does end up at second base.
It's almost like Alex Cora is trying to force feed his team into being aggressive. So the first 3-2 count he gets with no outs. He sends his base runner, and it pays off when Sanchez drops the exchange. Changeup. And here's the drop with the exchange that allows Devers to reach second.
Sanchez has one of the strongest throwing arms among catchers in the majors, and he threw out 30% this year. No question about his throwing ability. Just couldn't handle that one. There's a strike. Brock Holt gets his first start of this postseason, and as you mentioned, 1 for 15 in his career against Luis Severino. Drove in 46 this year, a career best. Played all over for Boston, all 4 infield spots. Played 2 outfield spots as well.
Well, Alex Cora looking for an early confirmation of his lineup changes. Devers on second, Holt up with a chance to drive him in.
And Holt's first at bat of this postseason as well. He's down 0-2. Holt trying to serve one to the opposite field. Stays alive. Red Sox with 4 left-handed hitters in their lineup tonight. Benintendi, Devers, Holt, Jackie Bradley Jr. They are all separated. No lefties hit back-to-back in the order. The 0-2 pitch. Make it 1-2 now.
Well, in a game where many hitters have one approach, no 2-strike approach, Holt is the opposite.
Ian Kinsler has started at second base the first 2 games, has had a nice start to the postseason, a right-handed bat. It is Holt's turn tonight, and a chopper over to the second baseman Torres. The second out. Devers will advance to third. And Severino with 2 gone. Trying to navigate around a leadoff single and a stolen base. A strikeout and a ground out with Christian Vasquez coming up. First start for Vasquez in this series as well. Sandy Leon has put on a defensive catching clinic in the first 2 games. Red Sox carry 3 catchers on their postseason roster. Blake Swihart the other. Yankees are in their 4th postseason game, starting in the wild card, first 2 in Boston. They have not allowed a 2-out RBI yet. Their pitching has been on point, minus the start of Jay Happ in game 1.
The one thing when you look at the shift, Brian, and they're trying to play Vasquez to pull, you have to move the first baseman way off the line to try to close that hole. That allows anything down that first base line to be a hit.
Slider missed, and it's 2 balls and a strike.
Good call by Mike Winters. That ball just off the corner.
Now think about the pitches of Severino in pairs, the changeup versus the slider. They break different ways. They're the same velocity. And then he's got the big fastball. That one's pulled foul. That looked like the changeup there, and Vasquez was out in front of it. 2-2 the count. Back on their feet. It's going to be like this all the way along. Vasquez fouls it away. Anytime there is a runner at third base against the Yankees when Sanchez is behind the plate, and even though he's played well behind the plate so far in this postseason, you have to think about the pass ball. Sanchez does have 4 pass balls with Severino this year.
And 34 the last 2 seasons.
He's tired of us bringing it up, but it is a story, and Devers has a big lead at third, ready to take advantage if it happens. On the ground, back up the middle, in and out of the glove of Severino. A run will score, everybody safe. Gregorius goes into the slide, but could not get gathered to make a throw, and the Red Sox strike first here tonight on an infield hit and an RBI with 2 outs by Christian Vasquez. First one of the postseason the Yankees have allowed with 2 outs.
Well, part of being a pitcher is fielding your position, and that ball just hits off the glove of Severino. So instead of being an easy out on the wet track, no chance for Didi Gregorius to get there. Slows it up just enough too. Got a lot of leather on it, but didn't hit the pocket.
That gives you an idea of just how wet the infield is. That long slide looked like a celebration after a goal in the Premier League or in the Champions League. Imagine what the baseball will be like on ground balls for infielders. Jackie Bradley Jr. fouls it away. So the early returns on Alex Cora's lineup change is a success. Devers and Vasquez with 2 hits. Of the 3 that are new into the lineup, 2 hits and an RBI, a stolen base, a run scored. Despite the lack of success against Severino for those 3. And it's back in a 2-strike count with 2 outs for Severino. One-two to Jackie Bradley Jr. Broken bat. That's down foul. Just missed the line. And might need a new piece of lumber. 43 pitches already for Severino, right off the end, and the hook takes it foul. 30-pitch inning here, Ron, for Severino.
We have the 2 umpires down that behind first base. You got a double look at that ball, whether it's fair or foul.
Dan Bellino, the right field umpire. Corey Blazer, the left field umpire. 6-man crew in the postseason. A 1-2 and a swing and a miss. Severino with the strikeout to end the inning. But Boston strikes first. They get a couple of hits, including a 2-out infield hit by Vasquez. Giancarlo Stanton, he'll lead off. We head to the Yankees second. 1-0 Red Sox. This postseason, T-Mobile is again going to bat for hurricane recovery, and you can help. Every time you tweet hashtag HR4HR, T-Mobile will donate another $1 to Team Rubicon. Great shot there, the Freedom Tower on a Monday night in New York, in the big city tonight on a misty, cool autumn night. Red Sox have the lead, scoring in the second. RBI infield hit by Christian Vasquez. Giancarlo Stanton leads off against Nathan Ivaldi. Ivaldi 3 up and 3 down in his first inning. He finished the inning throwing 8 consecutive strikes, and now 1-1 on Stanton. Two players competing in their first postseason, two former Marlins.
Stanton has had 3 hits in his 3 postseason games and a home run, but has not looked entirely comfortable.
Hit a long home run here, pulled it down the left field line in the wild card game, and hits that one high and deep right field. On the run, Betts, and down in the corner that goes up into the seats, and Mookie returns his cell phone. Nice guy.
Can't live without the cell phone.
I mean, that's a big loss. And now Mookie Betts has touched it. Even for a Yankee fan, that has some value to it. If it was a Red Sox fan, he probably would have caught it. There you go, sir. See, it's all love here between the Red Sox and the Yankees. A lot of love.
We'll see.
Here's a 2-2 to Stanton, and a little chopper foul. Two former teammates with the Marlins, and stepping into a big stage here for their first postseasons. Way up there, Stanton just fighting hard to put a bat on it.
Yeah, he got on top of it though with that top hand, even though it was so far up in the strike zone.
Stanton 3 for 13 thus far in the postseason. Does have that home run, 2 singles, and in the hole, through, base hit. Stanton with a knock on a 2-strike pitch, and the first Yankees hit. A leadoff single in the second inning for Giancarlo Stanton. That's his 4th hit of the playoffs.
Almost across the major leagues, pitchers are trying to elevate their fastball to get the ball over the launch angle swings of some of these hitters, and that was up in the strike zone. Excellent top hand by Giancarlo Stanton.
His 3 singles have looked like that. His home run was pulled as well, and he is on for Didi Gregorius. 27 home runs during the regular season. Had a fantastic year once again. Big shift is on for Gregorius. Not a lot of bunting going on in the regular season with the Yankees in their powerful lineup, but it is interesting on a night like this with a shift on like this and a wet infield. If Gregorius, who can handle the bat in that regard, might do it, and he shows bunt and gets it down. Ivaldi slips, throw to first, not in time. Infield hit. First and second with nobody out. The right time to do it.
Sometimes you don't even have the thought of bunting, but when you come up and you see the shift in such a way that Devers was far off the line, so that allowed Gregorius to try to lay one down. Now listen, he didn't lay it down perfect, but Ivaldi slipped before he threw the ball to first base. We might see our first review.
There's Ron Reinke, the bench coach, and they will challenge this. So the crew chief is over Mike Winters. Calling umpire was Angel Hernandez, and we will go to a replay review. Remember, ball has to connect with the leather in the glove. It's in, foot not down.
Yeah.
I think this one's going to be overturned.
Sometimes it helps to throw 99 when you're trying to get hitters out. Sometimes it helps when you're trying to throw them out at first base.
This replay review powered by Mitel.
I think that's going to be overturned, but I think I'm 0 for 1 already this series.
You know what happens when we assume wrong.
That's right.
There was a call that Angel Hernandez made in game 2 at second base that was overturned. Although that one was a bang-bang play at second base too, with just a toe of Ian Kinsler on the bag.
For Ivaldi, after the slip, to get that much on the throw to first base. And from every angle I've seen, they're going to have to reverse the call.
Call on the field was safe. Has to be enough evidence, clear and convincing, to overturn it. That ruling will come from the home plate umpire here, who is the crew chief, Mike Winters. He'll get word from the replay review center in Chelsea, New York, just down the road.
Didi had the right idea. He just had to get it closer to the line. Bunted too much back to the pitcher.
And there is the call, and it will be overturned. So 2 of Angel Hernandez's calls in the last 2 games have been overturned. So the putout, instead of an infield hit, goes 1-3. Let's score that as a sacrifice bunt. Gregorius had just 1 sac bunt in the regular season, so it does advance a runner. It is the first out, as that one is overturned.
Good idea by Didi. Did not work out. Oh, worked out to get the runner to second.
Stanton in scoring position for Gary Sanchez. Well, with all the replay and the overturn, the moment of the introduction of Sanchez walking to the plate here at Yankee Stadium kind of got washed under by the crowd here, but he got a huge ovation when they announced the starting lineups tonight on the line, and deservedly so. His manager stuck with him. His manager, Aaron Boone, told us before the series started, Gary Sanchez is going to catch. He's going to catch just about every inning, and he is going to be an impact bat, and he already has been. Chase one that time. Sanchez with 2 hits in this Yankee postseason, both coming in the same game, game 2 on Saturday night. 2 homers and 2 tape measure shots as well. One went on top of the monster right down the line, and the other was into the deep reaches onto Lansdowne Street, over the monster and out of the stadium. All part of a 4 RBI game 2 for Gary Sanchez. No balls, 2 strikes. Take a look at tonight's Playmakers, presented by the Chrysler Pacifica. Entering the history books, Gary Sanchez with the multi-homer game in Game 2 Saturday. Hadn't been done since the 1956 World Series by the great Yogi Berra, the Hall of Famer, the legendary Yankee catcher. Oh, 0-2 the count. On the ground, Stanton's going to go to third. Bogarts, and that's close, and out is the call. You can tell these infielders are being very cautious the way they're throwing the baseball. Sanchez almost beat that one out. Going to be out number 2.
Well, almost too cautious for Bogarts. I think they're used to Sanchez kind of the 3/4 run down there, but he's been on 100% with his hustle in this series.
As close as Didi Gregorius. This time the out is called. 2 gone in the inning. Stanton goes to third base. Led this second inning off with a single. And here is Miguel Andujar. On the ground, bouncing ball out to Brock Holt. Lobs one to first to end the inning. So a leadoff single. Nathan Ivaldi pitches around it and made a terrific play. Yeah, Bogarts smacking himself around. Make a quicker throw next time, Xander. The 2018 American League Championship Series presented by T-Mobile continues tomorrow on TBS, the Division Series, I should say. And now that the Dodgers have taken down the Atlanta Braves, this is the only Division Series remaining. So the Championship Series, the AL on TBS, the NL on Fox. And it's going to be a Dodgers Brewers NLCS. And the Astros are awaiting the winner of this one. Mookie Betts will start it for Boston. Luis Severino back on the mound, starting his third inning. Betts, Benintendi, and Martinez, top three in the Red Sox order. And a line shot into left field, a base hit. Over to cut it off McCutchen. Betts will settle for the single. And his second hit of this division series. And it's a lead man on for the second consecutive inning for Boston.
Remember, when you're thinking about the running game and the wet track, you're saying to yourself, well, maybe you don't be as, maybe you're not as aggressive as you usually are. It's always wet, also wet behind the plate for Gary Sanchez, as we've seen once already.
You can see the lighter dirt around the baselines. They did put a little bit of the diamond dry material and the sliding pads, the leadoff path there at first base, and then right in front of second base as well, the sliding pad. So they didn't do the entire infield that way. But the starts and the slides are what's paramount with a track like this. And a close play. Severino with a good move. Mookie Betts was a 30-30 player this year. Betts had 32 home runs and 30 stolen bases. And Andrew Benintendi hitting in the 2 spot in the order with 87 runs batted in. All that traffic in front of him, namely from Mookie Betts, who is the first in Major League Baseball history to go 30-30 and win a batting title. 80% success rate, second best in the American League, and Betts with 30 out of 36 at 83%. Very high numbers of success stealing bases. Anytime you get over 75%, that's considered above average.
Well, I think if you're not stealing bases at a 75% clip or better, the analytics tell you today to not take a chance. Not worth it.
2 balls, no strikes. Benintendi fouls it back. 2-1 now.
Well, Severino has enough experience, but this is always kind of the last thing to come for young pitchers. Ability to hold runners on and still have all of your intention on the batter at the plate.
Now, through the regular season, would-be base stealers against Severino successful 10 times, or 5 times I should say, in 15 opportunities. And we mentioned Gary Sanchez throwing out runners at a 30% success rate. Red Sox already have a steal in this game. That was Devers' last inning. Big lead for Betts. Stays put. Benintendi, little flare into left field, going to fall for a base hit. And Betts on his way to third base. Throwing on the run is McCutchen. Safe at third. Into second is Benintendi. And the Red Sox running wild as Betts goes first to third on a single to left.
Well, first, nice hitting. If we take a look at Mookie Betts going around and being aggressive, so he being aggressive and taking the extra base allows Benintendi to take second base as well.
Changes the inning. Instead of first and second, which you would normally see in a spot like that on a base hit to left field, it's second and third with nobody out, and their big bat coming up, J.D. Martinez.
This is more of what you saw from the Red Sox all season long. Combination of power and speed.
As that 3-run home run came in his first at bat of this postseason. Big opportunity for Boston. They lead 1-0. The visualization techniques of JD Martinez that he has passed along to a number of his teammates. And that one's hit hard to left field. McCutchen is there on a line. Betts will tag and score easily. And it's a sacrifice fly for JD Martinez. It is 2-0 Boston. RBI number 4 of this division series for Martinez.
Well, I think if you're a Boston fan, you just have to enjoy how these first 2 runs have been scored. A 2-out base hit, aggressive base running, and a sacrifice fly. Productive out.
Still a runner at second. 1 man gone. Red Sox up 2-0. They've quieted down this sold out Yankee Stadium crowd here. Here's Xander Bogaerts. No breathers in this Boston lineup. Bogaerts had a monster season this season. Drove in 103 runs on 23 homers this year. Playing the shortstop position beautifully. Severino a scoreless first, giving up a run on the second and now 1 here in the third. He does have a couple of strikeouts. He's walked a batter and deals a strike. 97-mile-an-hour high fastball to Bogaerts.
We talked earlier about Severino in his first half. He was probably the best pitcher in baseball at that point. Then he lost his fastball command, got behind hitters. Only 5 first pitch strikes to the first 13 hitters he's faced so far.
There's strike 2. Game 2, Xander Bogaerts. Masahiro Tanaka didn't give up much. That was the one bright spot against Tanaka for Boston. As Xander Bogaerts popped his first home run of the 2018 postseason, gives him home runs in back-to-back playoff runs now for Boston. Tanaka was excellent in game 2. 5 innings, 1 run. And that one's into right field, a base hit. Benintendi got a late start. He'll stop at third. And the Red Sox keep on hitting, their 3rd of the inning. It is the 5th hit for Boston in the last 2 innings.
Well, you have to really appreciate the 2-strike hitting here by Bogaerts. Fastball away, going that way with 2 strikes. That high leg kick gets the foot down and a bullet to right. Because of all the shifting, probably difficult for Benintendi to get a big jump because of the line drive. Wait till it goes through. Now Rothschild out to talk to Severino.
That 29 pitch second inning. 59 pitches already. And still just 1 out in the 3rd inning.
You know, Brian, 2 2-strike hits back to back with Benintendi and Bogaerts tells you one thing, is that they have the Red Sox are having a nice 2-strike approach, try to put the ball in play. And secondly, Severino, even though he's gotten ahead, hasn't been able to wipe them out.
That's been an interesting night for Severino already. We showed you the images of him getting to the bullpen late to prepare to make this start. Seemed like what we could see that he thought the game was going to start later than it did. Larry Rothschild gave him the actual start time. He was rushing a little bit. He did get through the first inning scoreless. Now it's Devers with runners at first and third, and he's on the first pitch, a slow roller. They get the out at second. No chance for a double play, which means another run will score. It's an RBI for Devers. And Boston is up 3-0 here in the 3rd inning at Yankee Stadium.
Well, sometimes you're fortunate. Severino got the ground ball, but it was hit off the end of the bat from Devers. He's got enough speed to beat that out, and Benintendi scores. Lance Lynn now up for the Yankees.
Lynn was excellent in game 1 in the Yankee loss, but showed him something in that outing, pitching 2 scoreless innings. Here's Steve Pearce, 2 outs, runner at first.
Holt.
And strike 1 from Severino.
2 pitchers up for the Yankees in the bullpen, Stephen Tarpley and Lance Lynn.
5 hits for Boston, all of them singles. Red Sox are 5 for 12 now with runners in scoring position in this division series round. And now the new bats in this lineup for Boston tonight. That includes Devers, 2 for 4 with 2 runs batted in.
And 4 of the 5 hits, Brian, have come with 2 strikes.
Did he go? Did not. Checks his swing. 2-1 now to Pearce. In the air, center field. Gardner on the run, way back at the track, and he's got it for the out. Inning is over. Pearce flies out deep center, but Boston scores twice and now lead it 3-0.
Need to focus on the game? Hey Siri, turn on Do Not Disturb.
Misty night at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Let's see if the Yankees have an answer now. Boston up 3-0. Got a run in the second. RBI infield hit by Vasquez. 2 runs in the top of this 3rd inning. RBIs from J.D. Martinez and Rafael Devers. Gleyber Torres will lead off. Nathan Ivaldi back on the mound. He surrendered just the 1 hit. That was a 2-strike hit by Giancarlo Stanton to lead off the 2nd inning. Made an excellent play on a bunt by Gregorius, and then retired the next 2 hitters on groundouts. So 4 of his 6 outs have been groundouts. He has a strikeout. Aaron Judge hit the hardest ball of the night for the Yankees, a line drive out to right.
Well, I'll tell you, Ivaldi has come out throwing bullets. I thought we'd see more cutters early, but with the 8 days rest, it looks like he loves his fastball this evening. Big shutdown inning here. We always talk about that. His ERA this year, when he's had to shut a team down after his team has scored a run, ERA 2.38.
And the 1-2 back up the middle, hits the mound. Bogart's over, gloves it, throws it, and it's in time. A spectacular play. Xander Bogaerts cutting across the bag at second, behind the bag, cuts down Torres for the first out. Certainly one the Yankees will want to take a look at here. We'll do it with them.
Yeah, outstanding play. I think the ball's there in time. His ability to go up the middle, throw off balance. But does Pearce keep his foot on the base? Yes, he does.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that throw was a little late. We're going to have our third challenge. And Angel Hernandez, the first base umpire, has been right in the middle of all of them. I think that's another one that's going to be overturned.
I don't know. Bang, bang. Ball, is it inside the glove when that toe hits the bag? I'd call him safe.
I would too.
I think it's just outside of the leather when Torres hit the bag.
Replay review by Meitel. Safe is the call. So that'll be an infield hit. Bam. Yeah, ball hadn't hit the leather. I mean, it is splitting hairs, but the replay speeds, our great camera work, the work in the tape room to be able to get these images, you can see so much more over the last few years than you've ever been able to see at a Major League Baseball game. It's a whole new world, and it changes the inning. So now it's a lead man on, and the crowd is up. And instead of a spectacular 6-3 putout, an infield hit with Brett Gardner at the plate. Aaron Hicks tweaks his hamstring in game one, comes out of the game after he had driven in a run in that game. And then Brett Gardner takes over. He starts in game two, and he was a force in game two. Did not have a hit, but he walked 3 times. He's walked 3 times in this postseason, twice in that one. And Ronnie, in his first 7 plate appearances, he saw 43 pitches. Kind of the essence of what Brett Gardner can do in a lineup and to a pitcher on the mound.
And don't forget, he's got some pop to right field. 2-0 count.
Hit 12 home runs this year. And he takes a ball, and it's 3-0.
You'll have the full take on here. If you're the pitcher, you just pour one down the middle.
Just caught the corner. 3 balls and a strike on Gardner, who is as comfortable hitting with 2 strikes as any Yankee. So 3-1, no given either. Infield hit to start it on a call that was overturned. Second call overturned tonight. Hitters count for Gardner, the 3-1, and a swing and a foul out of play. It goes to 3-2. Andrew McCutchen, the Yankees leadoff man, due next. Of Gardner's 12 home runs this year, 6 of them either tied the game or put the Yankees ahead. And the 3-2 and a swing and a high fly ball. That is going to hook, foul. Oh, just got out ahead of it.
So interesting choice of pitches. The 3 One pitch, he threw right by him with a fastball, decided to come back with a little cutter, backdoor cutter, sped up his bat, and he almost went bridge.
That seems like the worst possible pitch for Brett Gardner. Unless it's buried in the dirt, and he's not a guy that chases that often. Risky in a 3-2 count. Let's see what Ivaldi has in mind for him. Torres the runner at first. And Gardner a shot. Oh, nice play. Holt to second. Out. And bobbled by Bogaerts. The out is recorded at second base on the exchange. They say the ball comes free. So the first out of the inning comes at second base on a heck of a play by Holt. A moment ago, Lauren had a chance to catch up with Alex Cora. Listen in.
Alex, Ivaldi's touched 100 a couple times. Outside of velocity, what are you looking for?
Location, good pitch mix, use a fastball in different spots, and if he does that, we're going to be all right.
Lineups clicking, Devers and Vasquez producing already. Why'd you like this matchup for them?
He's tough against righties. Christian puts the ball in play. I just feel like it was a good lineup to put pressure on him. We've done so far, but the game is not over.
Appreciate it, Alex. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks to Alex Cora, giving us a few moments here in game. Heck of a play there by Brock Holt to not just get the ball in his glove, prevent it from going into the outfield, but securing the lead out at second base. One away, runner at first. Top of the order, Andrew McCutchen now bats for the second time. And he ate him up with a fastball inside.
I mean, you're not going to see a better play by a second baseman. In between hop and with the slide and pop up by Holt, or sorry, on his knees, makes the play to Bogaerts. In the exchange, lost the ball.
It was so quick in and out of his glove with that slide. Actually gave Bogaerts a chance at a double play. There's a high fly ball to right field. Routine for Mookie Betts. Gardner halfway. He'll retreat. And there is the second out of this third inning. Brock Holt says, yeah, strong in his first start of this postseason.
He didn't need to be strong on that play. Agile is what worked.
Dustin Pedroia, not part of this postseason roster, but a big part of this ball club. And one of those guys that Alex Cora leans on in that clubhouse. Finally shut down for good. Played 3 games this season and none after late May. Dustin Pedroia. Here's Aaron Judge.
Well, Judge had a good at bat in his first at bat. Line drive to right field that Betts was able to corral in. But last 140 at bats, Ivaldi against right-handed hitters, it's not a lot of home run.
Ivaldi moved up in the rotation after Porcello pitched out of the bullpen in game 1. Porcello originally was the scheduled game 3 starter, but Ivaldi gets that call. We'll see Porcello tomorrow night. On the ground to short. Bogaerts goes the easy way to end the inning. Side retired. There was a call overturned. Torres with an infield hit to start it, but nothing doing for Ivaldi. A reminder that official caps, t-shirts, hoodies, jerseys, jackets, and more can find all the gear you need all postseason long at MLBshop.com. Yankees fans waiting for their team to jump back into the fray here, down 3-0, and first ball swinging Brock Holt, a base hit. And the singles continue to come for the Red Sox. Their 6th hit, all of them are singles.
Well, this is turning into the best lineup change in the history of the game by Alex Cora, with Brock Holt and Devers, Vasquez.
Holt, his first hit of the night and his first start, his first at-bats of this postseason, just made a sensational play at second base. And with Severino on the mound in the 4th inning, Lance Lynn has resumed throwing in the New York bullpen. Here is Christian Vasquez, who drove in the first run with an infield hit. Came with 2 outs and 2 strikes in the 2nd inning. Runner goes, hit and run is on, almost hit Holt. Stop at second, a base hit for Vasquez. Now we're really into the old school. When's the last time you saw a hit and run?
Well, you know what's interesting? This season, Brock Holt stole 7 bases, was thrown out 7 times. What that tells me, he's their guy when he's on first to go on a hit and run. And Vasquez, just beautiful hitting, and just misses Holt.
That would have been an out had it hit Holt. He would have been eliminated. And it's 1st and 2nd now. And since we've got a sac bunt and we have a hit and run, do we go for a good old-fashioned sacrifice bunt right here?
Jackie Bradley Jr. 5 for 26 career off Severino.
2 on, nobody out. He does square and pulls it back, takes a ball. Boston really forcing the action here. Death by paper cuts, as they say. All the singles. 7 of them. 2 on, nobody out. And Bradley not bunting this time, takes a ball, and it's 2-0. Jackie Bradley Jr. did not have a sacrifice bunt in the regular season. First one he turned, the next one he didn't, and swinging away this time, takes a ball. And it's 3 balls and no strikes, and it might be the end here for Luis Severino.
2-0 changeup, loves his changeup, throws it at any count, doesn't find the strike zone.
Missed badly, ball 4, and the bases are loaded. Worst case scenario for Aaron Boone. He's got to make an early pull. With the bases loaded and nobody out in the 4th inning, Severino's night is over.
Severino started warming up late. He exits the game early.
5 postseason starts entering tonight, just 20 innings. He lasts 3+ in this one. Here comes Lance Lynn, a pitching change at Yankee Stadium. Time for the Art of Performance presented by Jaguar. The Houston Astros are moving on to the American League Championship Series, awaiting the winner of this one, the defending world champions. How about that run for them in the 3-game sweep against the Cleveland Indians, scoring 7 runs a game. Broke it loose today in Cleveland after winning the first 2 at home. So they are advancing. The Brewers and the Dodgers advance in the National League, and now the Astros eliminate the Indians, awaiting the winner of this Boston-New York series. It's going to be a terrific championship series round. Severino is out, 3+ innings, giving up 2 hits and a walk in this 4th, and now Lance Lynn will inherit those 3 runners. Makes his 2nd appearance of this division series.
Well, Lance Lynn, this is his 6th postseason, the veteran in here to try to pull a miracle.
Facing Mookie Betts. Red Sox have come back around to the top of their order. Betts already batting for the 3rd time. Singled and scored in the 3rd, and it was his sprint from 1st to 3rd on a base hit by Benintendi to left field last inning that set up the inning for Boston. Chad Green has started to throw in the Yankees bullpen. And Lynn misses. Boston's had some success against the Yankees this year in the regular season with the grand slam. They've hit 4 of them against New York. 7 for 20, 7 hits and 20 at-bats with the bases loaded, with 4 slams, including one for Mookie Betts. A dangerous hitter at the plate, and it skips in. Sanchez makes a nice backhanded pick. Lynn falls to the ground, and it's 3 balls and no strikes on Betts.
Well, I was watching before, Ivaldi almost between every single pitch was wiping his cleats on that grated part behind the rubber because he was slipping. But he hits the beginning of that big hole in front of the rubber, and see the back of his spike just slid down into it, and he lost his footing.
That's risky. I mean, that's tough on the arm. Impressive he was able to get it close enough to the plate for Sanchez to catch it.
Sometimes that hole will get so big that it's almost like it's at a extreme angle. So if you don't hit in the middle of that hole, you hit in the beginning of that hole, then the back of your spike will slide into that hole.
It's the biggest pet peeve of relievers, right? To come into a game and have to work around the hole that was left by the starter.
I also think it demands that the grounds crew in between innings might have to take a look at that each and every inning.
I'm a little surprised they're not going out right now, but I think Lynn feels like it's covered up enough or packed down enough. And now you wonder if Mookie Betts has a green light here, 3-0. Bases loaded, nobody out. And that one misses way inside. Ball 4 with the bases full, and it's 4-0 Boston. Coming in to score is Brock Holt, who started this inning with a single on the first pitch. And now the Red Sox with a golden opportunity to put a crooked number on the board. Andrew Benintendi singled and scored in the 3rd. Five in a row for Lance Lynn, out of the strike zone. That one's on the ground, foul. And finally a strike.
What Aaron Boone likes about Lance Lynn as a reliever, he's one of the few right-handers that he has that can come in and get a ground ball. That ground ball could lead to a couple of outs, or much needed outs.
Huge swing inning right now in the 4th. The Yankees just trying to minimize the damage here. They have not recorded an out, but in this ballpark with the Yankees lineup, you're never out of a game. A swing and a miss. Good fastball by Lynn. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Benintendi. Benintendi is a good runner and coming out of the left side of the box as well. He's tough to double up. Corner infielders are in. Looks like the throw from there would come to the plate. Middle infielders look to turn 2 and allow the run to score as that one misses. Benintendi didn't bite on that one. 2-2.
Pitching Benintendi away with the shift on, with Gregorius playing really up the middle. Benintendi with 62 opposite field hits this year led the American League.
A number 2 hitter driving in 87 runs this season. And he rips that one fair ball down into the corner. It goes. 1 run is in. Vasquez right behind him is Bradley, and Betts right behind him. A 3 RBI double. Andrew Benintendi. 7-0 Boston. And a big spot to deliver for the number 2 hitter Benintendi.
Well, as I was talking about his opposite field hits, he got a change up there from Lynn and kept it fair down the line. Judge had been playing him to right center by the time he got over there. Betts in his great speed scored from first base.
And the dam breaks in the 4th. Still nobody out. First 5 batters have reached, and the first extra base hit of the night turned in by Benintendi as Martinez fouls it back. Can close the book on Luis Severino. 3+ innings. Faced 3 batters in the 4th. 7 hits, 6 runs, all earned. And a start to forget here in the Bronx in Game 3 of this division series. The 0-1. Martinez, a wave and a miss. Defensive swing. And it's 0-2. One day leads to the next. Aaron Boone will certainly navigate this the rest of the way with his bullpen. See if his offense can put some runs on the board. But how you use your pen when there is a game tomorrow is a big story right now for the Yankees.
With a 7-run deficit. Might change the name of the relievers who come in the ball game.
CC Sabathia, the scheduled starter for Game 4 tomorrow. Slow roller to third base, and Duhar makes the play, and that is the first out of the 4th inning. Larry Rothschild on the phone, and Chad Green warming up. Might be a spot where you say, take a breather for a minute. Let Lance Lynn try to pitch as long as he can. Had 2 innings in Game 1. He was excellent in that game. It allowed the Yankees to come back in that game. He entered with a 5-0 deficit for New York. They actually got it within a run. So Bogart's here with 1 away. Benintendi, the runner at second.
Hey.
Clutch hitting by Boston in the ALDS. 6 for 14 with runners in scoring position. Just haven't gotten as much traffic in the first 2 games as they'd like. Certainly are today.
As loud as Yankee Stadium was when this game started, and what we heard and saw in the wild card game, it is golf crowd quiet. Red Sox have come in and done exactly what they hoped to do, playing in a hostile environment and quiet down the crowd as fast as they can. One ball, 1 strike. Bogarts with a single his last time up. as one of the 8 Boston hits.
Well, coming into this series, that's what we talked about with this Boston offense. One of the reasons why they won 108 ball games is that they can play home run ball like they did in the first game with JD Martinez, but they can also play small ball, aggressive ball, put together, and keep the line moving.
And there's a base hit into left field. Benintendi's going to be held by Carlos Feblis. And a good throw in from McCutchen. Charged that one well. And that pretty much sums it up. And Aaron Boone is on his way back out. So as good as Lance Lynn pitched with a deficit in game 1, it is a short outing here tonight.
It's one of those cases where Lance Lynn, you want him to play a big part in your game maybe tomorrow, so you don't allow him to throw too many pitches.
Another pitching change, the second of the inning. Andrew Benintendi with the big hit, a double with the bases loaded, drives in 3, makes it 7-0 Boston.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
Andrew Benintendi delivers a big hit, gets the hair treatment from Mitch Moreland after a 3 RBI double. He's now at third base. It is first and third. And the new pitcher, Chad Green, on to try to settle this thing down for the Yankees on the mound. It has been a wild one. 4 hits and 2 walks in this inning for Boston. And Devers with a big swing and a miss. Alex Cora wanted to generate some offense, so he changed up his lineup tonight, and it has worked to perfection. Not just those that entered the lineup, like Devers and Brock Holt and Christian Vasquez, but up and down the lineup. In the bottom of that order, the last 3 in the Red Sox lineup, producing 3 hits and a walk already. Doesn't feel like Alex Cora is going to be adjusting the top 4 in his lineup very often, with Betts and Benintendi, Martinez and Bogarts. That's a pretty much of a lock in this postseason. But 5 through 9 or 5 through 8, you've got some flexibility there and some players that have had some success. And what it does for Alex Cora, it gives him a really strong bench every night and players that have been in the fire already.
And against right-handed pitching, if they move forward, Devers and Holt are going to get more opportunities.
Devers pops it up. Benintendi's not going to tag. That one ends up in the skin of the dirt. And Torres makes a play for out number 2 of this inning. Lance Lynn retired just one batter, the ground out by Martinez. And this is the 9th batter of the inning as the Red Sox have batted around. Steve Pearce coming up.
Well, Green was one of the quartet of pitchers, relief pitchers for the Yankees in Game 1. Kind of let the Yankees get back in. Pitched 2 innings, didn't give up a run, but he gave up one run when he came in on a Steve Pearce single for an RBI.
Pearce at the plate, 0 for 2.
Holt.
We're only in the 4th inning, but every Boston hitter in the lineup has reached base at least once, except for Pearce, who's 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a fly ball to center field. Red Sox do have some concern about Mitch Moreland. They're hoping to buy him a day or 2. Yankees will have CC Sabathia on the mound tomorrow. That would be a Steve Pearce start anyway, and then you get an off day. So it's a hamstring injury for Moreland. There's a base hit into left field. Pearce is on the board with an RBI single, and the Yankees will add, or rather the Red Sox will add to their lead. It's now 8-0 as the Yankees are having a tough time getting through this 4th inning. Still 2 outs, now 2 men on. This was the injury to Mitch Moreland. That shot off the wall. Moreland cranking it up to score. And notice here right at the end of this, when he steps on the plate, as he puts the brakes on, he grabs at his right hamstring. Red Sox did get good news today, though, and not going to have to go on the DL or taken off the roster because of injury. Brock Holt, the man who started this inning. Well, Steve Pearce with an RBI single. He's in the books. Lauren's got more on him.
And BA, it took 7 years in Major League Baseball until Steve Pearce finally had 200 plate appearances. He's played in 8 big league organizations. He's played for all 5 teams in the AL East. He's been released. He's been re-signed. He made his Red Sox debut at Yankee Stadium. His journey hasn't been easy, but he relishes his role of mentor. Alex Cora raving about his leadership, how he always makes time for the younger guys. He grew up loving the Red Sox and hating the Yankees.
Did have his 1 year, 1 moment where the Yankees couldn't even call it a year. It was just 12 games. It is interesting, though, that Pearce and Yankees left fielder Andrew McCutchen, who are together in the Pirates organization, they are very close. Matter of fact, Pearce was a groomsman in McCutchen's wedding. And so those two have had some back and forth with this Yankee Red Sox rivalry. 2 on for Holt, and a line drive, fair ball into the corner it goes. More runs are coming in for Boston. Pearce trying to score from first. He is in. On his way to third is Holt. It's a 2 RBI triple. Can you believe this? 10-0 Boston. And a 7 spot in the 4th inning.
Well, another hit down into the corner. And we said before that Aaron Judge plays so far in the gap in right center. By the time he gets to this ball, the 2 runs are going to score easily, and Holt turns it into a triple.
Brock Holt feeling it. 2 hits in this inning. 7 runs. 10 runs on 11 hits. Boy, who saw this coming? Christian Vasquez started it all with an infield hit with 2 outs and 2 strikes in the 2nd inning. A little half swing. Can't make the play. Green barehanded. Gregorius throw to first. Dug out by Voight. Nice play. And that's going to end the inning mercifully for the Yankees. Boston drops 7 on them. And it's 10-0 Red Sox as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. This 2018 American League Division Series is presented by T-Mobile. Boston 10-0 over the Yankees. First game of this series at Yankee Stadium. And these fans quiet, upset, in disbelief as the Red Sox put 7 on the board in the 4th inning. A nightmare inning for New York. Let's see if they chip away a little bit now. Meanwhile, Nathan Ivaldi has been terrific. 3 scoreless. He's only given up the 2 hits. One of those hits was an infield hit by Torres. Has 1 strikeout thus far. And he looks comfortable on the mound. And he looks especially comfortable now. He's got a 10-run lead.
On the bench for a long time, though. 2-0 now to Voight.
Luke Voight, a strikeout victim in the 1st inning. And right back to the mound. Hit the bare hand of Ivaldi. Closing his hold. Throw at first. Not in time. I think Ivaldi slipped in that same hole on the mound that Lance Lynn stepped into. But he was trying to field the ball.
Looked like he was trying to field it with his bare hand.
He has slipped twice on the wet grounds. Yeah, oh, just kind of buckled him. Nice effort there by Holt, but Voight hustling all the way, sniffing an infield hit, and I believe this one's going to a challenge as well.
I mean, this is like a review an inning for Angel Hernandez down to first.
Angel Hernandez, the first base umpire, having 4 reviews challenge already, is the equivalent of the Yankees being down 10-0 right now. You never want to have your calls go to review this often. He's had some bang plays over at first base. This replay review powered by Mitel.
Just lost his footing, and what a hustle play by Brock Holt. And his fingertips then had to exchange it to get a better grip, and the throw to first on the hop. Well, from that angle it's tough to tell, but from this angle you'll be able to tell. Voight's in the air, the 1 hop. Whew.
Wow. I mean, again, splitting hairs here. That's a tough one. And I think it is fair to say that our cameras and our replay speeds can see better than the human eye. We could slow it down, but so safe is the call, and the call stands. Not enough there to overturn. Not picking on Angel Hernandez, just saying he's had a lot of bang calls, and he's 50-50 right now. He's had 4 of them.
Well, he's happy to get 1 right there, though.
Yeah, he's all smiles. I thought I saw that right, he says. So an infield hit for Voight. That brings up Giancarlo Stanton. And a line shot to center field. Whistles that one out to Bradley. Voight's going to turn and head to 3rd. Stanton will stop at first. Nice play by Bradley, but Giancarlo Stanton with a bullet. And 2 on to start the inning. If you're the Yankees right now, your primary goal down 10-0. The first goal is to get Ivaldi out of the game and get into that Red Sox bullpen.
Well, middle of the plate in with that fastball down the middle, and Stanton almost on the ground with that line drive was able to beat Jackie Bradley Jr. to the spot. Almost went through.
Here is Didi Gregorius. Now, and there's a strike from Ivaldi.
U.S. pitchers sometimes, when they have that big inning, of course they love the runs, but it's almost when you go out back on the mound, it's like you're starting the game all over again.
It's a dangerous Yankee lineup. It's 10-0, but there's a lot of baseball to be played in this game. Swing and a miss. For historical context, Major League Baseball history, the largest deficit overcome to win a postseason game is 8 runs. That was a World Series game in 1929. Game 4. The Cubs led 8-0 in the bottom of the 7th inning. The Athletics, the Philadelphia Athletics, scored 10 runs in the 7th inning to win 10-8. So there is your carrot.
There's precedent.
That's what's out there in front of you. This would be the greatest comeback in baseball postseason history if they pull it off. And a ground ball. Backhand flip to second. Out recorded at second base and out at first. A double play. A run will score. Slow developing play with the shift on, but Boston turns 2. Gregorius is convinced he was safe. And a run comes in. I think we might be headed for our 5th challenge for Angel Hernandez. Oh, he's clearly safe.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an RBI for Gregorius. He's not even thinking about leaving first base.
Angel's going to be the umpire in the best shape by the end of this game.
Yeah. 5 challenges for the first base umpire. He sees it right now on the big board and knows it. It's got to be the sickest feeling in the world for an umpire.
It'll be a quick one.
Yeah, it didn't take long at all. Well, Mitel getting their money's worth tonight because the 5th replay review is also powered by Mitel. They've got plenty of power for these reviews. Goodness gracious. Angel Hernandez.
Kind of chuckled at it for a while. Not so funny anymore.
So that brings up Gary Sanchez, the 2-homer game in game 2, including the knockout punch, 3-run blast, 479 feet onto Lansdowne and across the street. Yankees were going to get the run anyway, but it does mean it's an RBI for Gregorius, beating that out on the fielder's choice.
Hey.
Well, the Yankees 9 times during the regular season, scoring 11 runs or more. I mean, we know we're grabbing, but you keep throwing it out there. You keep putting the nuggets out there just in case.
Well, after coming over from Tampa Bay Rays, this is the first run as a Red Sox that Nathan Ivaldi has given up against the Yankees. First earned run.
Yeah, did give up an unearned run in his 2-inning outing on the 29th of September. Had a 2.11 ERA. 3 games started with Boston, or rather against the Yankees, combining his Tampa Bay numbers. Gave up 5 earned runs against the Yankees as a member of the Rays. That was in 7 1/3 in June. Was the losing pitcher. His second game as a Red Sox pitcher was 8 shutout innings against the Yankees, after he went 7 shutout against the Twins in his first start as a Red Sox. There's a swing and a miss. Sanchez strikes out. That's the second out of the inning. By the way, we did chat with Aaron Boone between innings prior to the 7-run inning. We didn't run the interview with Lauren because it was all about Severino. He was out of the game so quickly we didn't have a chance to get that interview in. But the second half of the interview was his comments on Ivaldi and what he's seen from him tonight. And the Yankee manager, what he has noticed tonight, he's filling up the strike zone, and that was the real game plan against Ivaldi. Make him work. Hopefully his command is an issue, and it has not been at this point as he deals a 99-mile-an-hour fastball in there.
I think we tend to forget, before Ivaldi had all of his injuries, always was thought of to be destined to be a great starting pitcher. Great athlete, big strong kid, and he's fought hard back from those injuries.
Andujar with a big swing and a miss. No balls, 2 strikes. 28-year-old Nathan Ivaldi. Prior to this season, his last major league start was as a Yankee in 2016, August of 2016. Didn't make another start in the big leagues until this past May. Long road back, repairing 2 injuries in the elbow. The UCL replacement, the Tommy John surgery, and the flexor tendon. That is a complete blow-up of the elbow. That's one of the most difficult to come back from, and usually one that has the shortest shelf life returning. Ground ball to Holt, and Ivaldi does give up a run, but that is it on a couple of hits. An RBI for Gregorius. Yankees are on the board. It's 10-1 Boston.
The MLB postseason on TBS is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Step up to the plate for savings. Visit Progressive.com. And by Sprint. Switch today.
Oh, many thanks to our friends at the Intrepid Sea, Air, and Space Museum for their hospitality today, allowing us to take video from a piece of American history out on the Hudson. Jackie Bradley Jr. swings at the first pitch, flies out for out number 1. Chad Green returns to the mound for the Yankees.
It's the 196th home postseason game for the New York Yankees. 8th time they've allowed 10 or more runs.
Red Sox brought 11 to the plate in the 4th. Mookie Betts with a bases loaded walk in that 4th inning. And that one's on the ground. This will be 2 pitches and 2 outs for Chad Green. In the regular season, the regular rhythm of a major league game, you get down 10-0 or 10-1. Those, believe it or not, are usually the fastest games on the schedule when it's this lopsided this early. Players start to swing early in the count. You try to move on to the next day, and if you're a manager, you're trying to protect your pitching for the next day as well, and both managers will certainly do that here. Go as long as you can with Ivaldi.
Hi.
Well, there's certain things that are done in the regular season, like taking out some of your better players to give them a rest, get them off their feet. Those things I don't think will happen today, but swinging early and being aggressive here by the Red Sox, I think is exactly what's going to happen.
1 ball, 1 strike to Benintendi. Had the big hit. He and JD Martinez have delivered the 2 big hits in this series thus far. JD Martinez, the 3-run home run in game 1. Benintendi, the 3-run triple, I beg your pardon, the 3-run double in the 4th inning tonight. Now there are small battles to be won here for the Yankees. I mean, you do your best to come back, but again, pitching is such, relief pitching is such a big part of the postseason. And if you can tap into that bullpen a little bit, the more looks you get, even though they played 19 times in the regular year, you're trying to leave a mark, get your own swing going, dig it out of the dirt, as they would say, as Benintendi draws a 2-out walk. Let's check in with Casey Stern. He's in our Atlanta studios. What do you have, Case? Brewers, Dodgers. I think the Dodgers is no surprise at all.
That's right.
When you go back to spring training after they won their 6th consecutive division title in the National League West, I would say the Brewers would be a big surprise, and they have really put the pieces together to make a run, sweeping the Colorado Rockies and back in the championship series for the first time since 2011.
Only allowed a couple of runs in that series, right?
Yeah, 28 innings, 2 runs. Bullpenning will be a thing in the league championship series. It already is a thing,
yes,
but it's really going to be a thing with the Brewers, you would think. Well, the Red Sox bench coach Ron Reinke was the manager of the last Milwaukee team to go to the NLCS. That was a series that we called. Cardinals won that series, went on to win the World Series that year. So Craig Counsell, the hometown kid, now taking his Brewers to the LCS.
Albert Pujols took a little advantage of the Brewers in that series. Chad Green thrown over to first. Benintendi at first. Rules of the game, I don't know. I would not run leading 10-1.
Martinez fouls it away. Well, congratulations, by the way, to the Atlanta Braves. Terrific season. Yeah. Another surprise team winning the NL East. There's Ron Reinke, former Brewers manager. Matter of fact, Ron Reinke was the manager in the minor leagues in the Dodgers organization, and his star shortstop was Alex Cora back in the late 90s. That's how those two are reunited. Benintendi does take off. So Voight holding Benintendi on, and Benintendi swipes the base. That'll be a stolen base.
Well, I guess from the school of never taking anything for granted. Don't usually see that in the postseason, maybe. Regular season, never.
10-1 Boston. JD Martinez in a 3-2 count, and he draws the walk. Back-to-back walks after 2 outs on the first 2 pitches. Jonathan Holder in the Yankee bullpen, and Larry Rothschild on his way out. Got to get 27 outs, and how the Yankees get there will be part of the narrative for tomorrow, minus a miraculous comeback.
Yeah, you're trying to get your 27 outs with your relievers without using any reliever to the point where you can't use them tomorrow. It's a hard thing to do.
Eight-man bullpen for the Yankees. I've already used Lance Lynn. Trying to get as much as you can out of Chad Green. And you figure Holder and Stephen Tarpley are going to be in the picture tonight. Aaron Boone's A bullpen, those he goes to with a tie game or a game with the lead, is about as good as it gets, with Chapman closing and then Zach Britton is the setup man, Robertson, Dylan Betances. So those are the four you'd like to stay away from, but not to say any of those four couldn't get an inning tonight. Bogart's at the plate, takes a strike.
Halt.
Both runners there with 2-out walks. Benintendi's been on base 3 times tonight. Every call Angel Hernandez makes is going to draw a bit of a reaction, with the 5 challenges in this series already, 4 of them tonight. And he popped him up. And Duhar will settle under it, and that will retire the side. Only the second time tonight. Yankee pitchers have held the Red Sox scoreless. All going well for Boston tonight. They lead it 10-1 at Yankee Stadium. Hey, if you're not following MLB on social media, you should be. Follow @BAT on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Bright lights of the big city, New York City, and here in the Bronx, it is the Yankees and the Red Sox, game 3, and it has been all Boston.
Halt.
Jumped out early, scored a run in the second inning to quiet down the big crowd. Then they added 2 in the third, and then a 7-run fourth. Yankees just scored in the bottom of the fourth. There's an RBI by Gregorius on a fielder's choice. Gleyber Torres will start it against Ivaldi. See how many innings Boston can get out of Nathan Ivaldi. He's pitching well. A 6-7 year with a 3.81 earned run average. A season that did not start until May 30th. And a line of right to Pearce. Sums up the night for the Yankees thus far. And 1 away in the 5th.
You know, Brian, I think the one thing we can't do in this series is make any assumptions after a game, because, you know, those prodigious home runs hit by the Yankees and their bullpen had been so shut down in the first 2 games. It looked like they had the momentum on their side. But this Boston team has won 108 games this year. They've come back from many losses with big wins, and boy, they've had a big explosion offensively today.
They have really answered well. It did have that sense that the Yankees had grabbed the momentum of the series, winning the game on the road. You don't have the home field advantage. You're trying to steal the home field back, and they did take that home field advantage back, giving 2 of their last 3 potential games in this series at Yankee Stadium. But so it goes in a 5-game series. It can swing quickly, and it always goes right back to the mound. What's the old cliche in baseball? Momentum only as good as your next day's pitcher. And so now you think about, from the Red Sox perspective, they moved Ivaldi up to pitch this game 3 because Rick Porcello had thrown out of the bullpen. Well, now they have an accomplished starter, a pitcher they trust immensely.
That's right.
On the mound for
Cy Young Award winner
for a game 4. Saw a shot of CC Sabathia. You can bet he's grinding away tonight. This is not a regular season scenario where Sabathia is just ready to get the game over with and move on. He's watching all of these at bats. He's watching defensive alignment. He's grinding. Trust me.
He's grinding because he knows how big his start has become. That's why he's grinding.
1-2 pitch. Gardner, a little jam shot to second base, and Holt will make the play for out number 2.
Think about it, though. Holt and Devers, who played a nice role today in the lineup, might not be in the lineup tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah, you figure it would go back with the lefty on the mound, Sabathia. It'd go back to the right-handed hitting Ian Kinsler, and you figure Eduardo Nunez would be at third base, but you don't know. I think that's what makes the Red Sox interesting this year. More interesting. Alex Cora, he's a first-time manager after winning a World Series as the bench coach with the Astros a season ago. He is a bit unpredictable in that regard. And a little jam shot liner to Bogarts, who makes the play, and a 1-2-3 inning for Ivaldi. Clean inning, in order. 10-1. Bleacher Report gives you the moments that matter faster. Download the BR app today. Yankee Stadium, Bronx, New York. And Boston has come in here courtesy of a 7-run fourth inning. Lead at 10-1. Jonathan Holder is on to pitch for the Yankees. He'll become the 4th pitcher of the night. No pitcher has avoided the earned runs here tonight. Severino gave up 6 and 3+. Lance Lynn giving up 3 earnings in a third of an inning, and Green gives up 1 in an inning and 2/3. Devers pulls 1 foul.
Holder was a valuable piece of this team for the Yankees this year. 60 appearances, many appearances in the long relief type variety, and also went 23 straight appearances during the beginning part of the season without allowing an earned run.
No balls, 2 strikes on the Boston third baseman. Devers had a single, a stolen base, and a run scored off Severino in the 2nd inning. Collected his first career hit against Severino. Now, nothing on the numbers would tell you that the moves Alex Cora made tonight were conventional. They were more hunch driven and maybe more participation driven as well, trying to get his full roster of position players in this series and in the postseason as quick as he can. As Devers bounces out number 1 for Holder here in the 6th. One big story for the Yankees moving forward is the availability of Aaron Hicks. So he injured his hamstring. He felt like it was more cramping than a strain, officially called tightness and thumbs up. So that's back-to-back games now where he has had pregame workouts where he's given the thumbs up. Aaron Boone said before the game he's available. I think he could run hard if he wanted to. You know, you ask him about maybe running out a potential double play or something in a gap, because I think he's ready to do that. And that's a big story for game 4. I think that caught a piece of Mike Winters behind the plate. Sanchez checking on him.
Little spinning ball. Oh, boy, lucky it got off the glove of Sanchez. Almost came underneath his mask, or maybe it did.
The crew chief, Steve Pearce, a swing and a miss.
It's interesting watching Hicks there. Got 2 different looks at him, right? After his first workout, the shake of his head like no good. That happened at Fenway Park, and today with the thumbs up.
He was very upset after he injured that hamstring in game 1. He slammed his helmet down. That led you to believe it was something serious. I think the Yankees came out as well as they could on that. It could be a scenario, though, tomorrow where Aaron Boone would play both Gardner and Aaron Hicks. You know, you have McCutchen in left field. Gardner's played well. He's seen a lot of pitches. He's gotten on base often in his few starts, and he's such a valuable defender. There's a swing and a miss and a strikeout of Pearce. 2 up, 2 down for Holder. And with Brock Holt coming up, able to deliver not 1 but 2 hits in that 4th inning. Had a single and a run scored his first time around, and then a triple and 2 RBIs his second time around, as the Red Sox brought 11 to the plate, part of a 7-run inning.
Hi.
Jacoby Ellsbury, who did not play this season because of injuries, is now a Yankee.
Hi.
Well, although quiet, this big crowd at Yankee Stadium, they have stayed in their seats. They are eager to see if their team can mount a comeback, or at least give them something to cheer about. Patiently waiting. Nathan Ivaldi has been excellent tonight for Boston. Gave up the 1 run in the 4th inning, but is coming off a 3 up, 3 down 5th. We were here for the wild card game. It's about as loud as I've ever heard Yankee Stadium. This version of it, they're getting an 0-9. It was rocking in here.
And just the opposite today. You know, Brock Holt's one of those guys, you know, we're surrounded by stars in the postseason, but these guys that kind of max out their talent are just as fun to watch to me.
Bouncing ball over to first base. Voight will take it to the bag. And that is a 3-up, 3-down inning for the first time tonight for Yankee pitchers.
The MLB postseason on TBS is brought to you by Arby's. We have the meats. And by T-Mobile. Whether you're home or away, T-Mobile has you covered.
Well, not too far from the Intrepid resting on the Hudson here at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. And Nathan Ivaldi back to work. Aaron Judge muscles one down. Base hit for Judge. Yeah, I'd stay around to see that guy hit too. We started our broadcast tonight talking about Aaron Judge, and you know, you go through a postseason and you start to see the players that are ready for the bright lights, and this guy is off to a fabulous start in his postseason career in his first 2 seasons.
Not a bad pitch by Ivaldi, jams him, but able to dump the ball. He's so strong in front of Mookie Betts in right field.
He hit a shot off Ivaldi in the first inning, a line drive that sent Betts back to the wall. That's been the hardest hit ball of the night. So Judge is aboard with a single, his first hit. Here is Luke Voight. Voight had a nice moment in the wild card game, hitting cleanup that night, coming from the Cardinals to the Yankees, and then in the lineup and a big part of their lineup in the postseason, and delivered a triple, his first ever triple as a major leaguer. Comes in a postseason game, and it drove in a couple of runs. And he almost hit it out. I think he thought he did hit it out when it left the bat. That was the Stanton home run on Blake Trinan. That one capped off the scoring. And the 7th Yankees run.
I feel like with every out that Ivaldi gets here in the 6th, it's kind of like icing on the cake, isn't it?
Yeah, the 6th inning's been a nemesis inning for him as well. His ERA in the 6th inning this year is 8.18. He's given up 5 home runs in the 6th inning. It is remarkable, his comeback. So he essentially is out 2 seasons or parts of 2 seasons, about an 18-month recovery. A lot of pitchers can come back from the Tommy John surgery in a year, sometimes less than a year. But he had the double surgery. And so his rehab and recovery took a little longer than they thought. He also had a rib injury during his rehab assignments with the Tampa Bay Rays, so that set him back a little bit as well. So he didn't make his first start until late May. But I mean, you've been there, Ron, to have an elbow injury or have any injury at all for a pitcher. You talk about stepping into the isolation chamber.
Well, I think one, you have to thank the development people at Tampa Bay. You know, they handled a lot of his rehabilitation work to get himself back on the field. You have to honor the commitment that Ivaldi had to make and the hard work he had to come back. But I think it shows a lot when you look at his starts this year. You know, his first 2 starts are as good as they can get. His last 2 starts scoreless. But in the middle, there was a lot of good ones and bad ones. And that happens when you're coming off an injury.
Swing and a miss by Voight. A 97-mile-an-hour fastball. And out number 1 for Ivaldi.
Ivaldi throwing 99 in the first, still throwing 97 here in the 6th inning. They wanted to get him out up and in, and he threw it right past him.
Well, the player that Tampa Bay received from Boston, Jalen Beeks, is a pitcher that the Red Sox liked a lot. He was an Arkansas Razorback like Andrew Benintendi as well. He actually surfaced in the big leagues with Tampa Bay as well and pitched in 12 games. From the Tampa Bay Rays side of things, Ivaldi is a free agent at season's end. You make the deal with Boston, you get a pitcher in return that is controllable under contract. So they flipped them. And then, you know, Tampa Bay played really well. They were a terrific team in the second half. They ended up winning 90 games this year. Tough to compete in this division with the 108-win Red Sox and the 100-win Yankees, but they finished 3rd in the division with 90 wins.
Well, in fact, as the underdogs are concerned, Oakland was probably the best story. Tampa Bay the second.
Yeah, and Oakland securing that wild card bid. Swing and a miss by Stanton, who is 2 for 2 tonight.
Both hits coming on fastballs. As we've seen in this series so far, though, the breaking ball down and away is giving Stanton right now tons of trouble. Almost spinning himself out of the batter's box.
1 ball, 2 strikes, and upstairs, and Stanton rips one to left, right to Benintendi. My goodness. A hot one off the bat by Giancarlo Stanton. It's the 2nd out. I mean, a high fastball and able to turn on it in that fashion. 2018 American League Division Series presented by T-Mobile continues tomorrow on TBS. Pre-game coverage at 7 p.m. and at 8 Eastern, it's Game 4, Red Sox Yankees, right here from Yankee Stadium. One rival will be in the position to end the other season. First time these 2 franchises have ever met in the Division Series round, and the first time they meet in the postseason since that very famous 2004 postseason in the LCS. Gregorius skies to left to end the inning, and Nathan Ivaldi, impressive tonight. Stake to a big lead, goes 6 strong. One of the headlines for Game 3 will be Alex Cora, the Red Sox manager, juggling his lineup tonight. Devers, Holt, Vasquez all put in and all delivering well in this one, driving in 4 runs, 5 hits for the 3 that all made their first start of this division series here tonight. And it was Christian Vasquez who delivered the game's first run on an infield hit on a 2-out 2-strike pitch from Severino. He had another hit in the 4th inning, a single and a run scored in the bottom of that order. Especially impressive tonight for Boston, producing 4 hits from hitters 7, 8, 9, 4 hits and a walk, scoring 3 runs, driving in 3 runs. Much to the delight of Dustin Pedroia, who's essentially turned into an extra coach here, although he is still on the playing roster, not on the active postseason roster.
Coach and a first-class needler.
Well, we talk about players who delivered in the postseason. He was one of them. He's had his moments. What a career. A little gray in that beard. Just 3 games this year. Chronic knee issues. It's a high fly ball to center field. Gardner will settle under it for the out. Vasquez is retired. Let's check in with Lauren. She's got a little more on Dustin Pedroia.
Yeah, BA and Ron, I'm over here by the Red Sox dugout, and in between every inning, Dustin Pedroia clapping, walking the length of the dugout, giving pep talks, getting the guys going. I spoke with him yesterday about his new role of mentor. He said, "It is absolutely killing me not to be out there." Alex Cora said, "Boy, has Dustin changed since we were teammates." He said he used to be the rah, 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 I'm the laser show guy. Now he's a man with incredible advice to give. The players are drawn to him. He's still their leader.
Be interesting to see what his career holds on the way to next season, this off season. Just never able to fully recover from cartilage restoration surgery. That was the left knee. And you wonder at this point, I mean, the game is so in you. Every player has to go through it at some point. Is it worth the rehab? Is it worth playing with the pain? How much does it take out of you to prepare? The former MVP.
Well, I think that yes to all those questions for Dustin. I think he wants to get back out there and give it one more go, of course. But I think the more difficult thing is we're talking about a smallish person as far as baseball is concerned, and how hard he played, whether it was defensively, offensively, and that takes its wear and tear. His numbers weren't small.
Oh man,
just the size.
Yeah, that MVP in 2008 laser show. Jackie Bradley Jr. batting with 1 away here and a 3-2 count. He's been on tonight, drew a walk and scored a run in the 4th. 0 for 2. Bullpen's quiet out there. Looks like Nathan Ivaldi will head back out for the 7th. On every inning they have. That's going to bounce a fair that just lands inside the line and bounces out for a ground rule double. So Jackie Bradley Jr. with the first Red Sox hit since that 7-run 4th. It's a 1-out double.
Ball jams him. Somehow kept it fair, just inside the line. But you know, one of the things you and I talked about before the series started, if you look on paper, the Yankees have a lot of thunder in the 7, 8, and 9 spot. Not as much maybe for the Boston Red Sox, but 5 hits out of those positions this evening.
And 6 runners on tonight from the bottom 3 in that batting order, including the walk that Bradley drew in the 4th. Top of the order now, here is Mookie Betts. He walked with the bases loaded in the 7-run 4th. He scored twice. He's 1 for 3. Boston has 6 hits with runners in scoring position. 5 different players for those 6 hits with hits and runners in scoring position. All the numbers are success stories for the Red Sox tonight. scoring 10 runs in a 3-inning window from the 2nd to the 4th. Jonathan Holder trying to give Aaron Boone some length here. Pitch as long as he can, as long as he's effective. It could go a long way if he can give him that multi-inning outing. Bullpen quiet. They're lounging back there behind the glass.
If they're lounging, they're kind of looking at each other like when the phone rings, who's it going to be?
Craning the neck. Bouncing ball to Gregorius. And Betts is retired. 2 outs in the inning.
Real nice job so far by Jonathan Holder.
They all matter at this point before you turn your attention toward a game 4. Benintendi now. 5th trip to the plate. 2 hits and a walk. A stolen base. 2 runs scored. And that bases loaded clearing double in the 4th. This guy's been an excellent hitter since he arrived. Advanced hitter at the college level, the collegiate level with Arkansas. Still hear a few pig sueys when you go around Fenway Park. And this was the big moment in the game right here. It was 4-0 at the time. And Benintendi cleared them all with a 3-run double.
Well, I played in the late 80s with a guy named Kevin McReynolds, who's one of the best Razorbacks of all time.
Yeah, good call there.
He could do anything on the field.
A terrific baseball program in Fayetteville. Benintendi now in his 3rd year. Not a lot of time in the minor leagues either for Benintendi. Just 150 minor league games, which was a little more than a full season in the minor leagues. They play 140 at that level, but a little less than a major league season. Sends that one high in the air, foul territory, and that'll head into the seats.
So I was saying before that on a 10-1 score, Benintendi took off and run and stole a base. I found that unusual, but you know, you can still keep pushing the envelope. But boy, swinging 3-0 in the 7th with a 10-1 lead. There used to be a book. There's no book anymore. Everything's gray. But I would find that offensive personally.
And he draws the walk. Benintendi is aboard, 1st and 2nd. Doesn't fall under the "let the kids play" theme that Major League Baseball is unleashing.
I love "let the kids play."
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. Bat flips and all. But there is a. You have to judge for yourself if you feel as rubbing it in ever starts to rub you the wrong way.
I feel like that goalpost is significantly moved back in this rivalry after the carnage that these two franchises have dealt to each other throughout the years. They've each had their moments. Got to be dreadful to watch this unfold as a Yankees fan. That 7-run 4th inning in their home stadium. Counting on the crowd to be loud, just like it was in the wild card game. JD Martinez with a base hit to center field. And this is going to be a run scoring single for JD Martinez. Jackie Bradley Jr. scores run number 11. And it is another RBI for Martinez, his 2nd of the game, gives him 5. in this American League Division Series.
Well, Torres is playing him up the middle, but still, even though it was off the end of the bat, was able to dump it into center field. Bradley Jr. with all that speed scores easily. Just had to reach out a little bit on his toes to get that off the end of the bat.
Now you see the vibration on the bat, but he is so strong, and a swing that is so pure delivers the RBI. Here's Xander Bogaerts. There's a strike from Holder. And finally, activity in that Yankee bullpen. Stephen Tarpley, not on the wild card roster, added to the Division Series roster. Bogaerts leans out on one, a little pop-up into foul territory. And this will end the inning. J.D. Martinez adds another RBI to the mix. It is 11-1. Times Square all lit up tonight in the big city. Tonight's game summary presented by Captain Morgan, a 7-run fourth inning. The big blow tonight for the Boston Red Sox. And they lead this one 11-1. Short start for Severino. Nathan Ivaldi has been terrific. 6 innings, only 1 earned run allowed. He strikes out 3 thus far. And back on the mound. And Ronnie, that feels like the big story tonight as we bring you inside the booth, courtesy of Capital One. You got Nathan Ivaldi, the Red Sox needing a good deep start. He gets a lot of run support, but he is pitching well, and he's been the answer for the Yankees this year for Boston.
Yeah, he really has. He's been the Yankee whisperer. When you think about it, the Yankees set a record 267 home runs this year in his last 26 and a third innings pitched. Ivaldi has not given up a home run against the Yankees. So that's amazing. But if you just remember, the last time these two teams faced each other was Game 7 in the 2004 when Johnny Damon got off and they scored a ton of runs. So although it's been 14 years, same result.
Double-digit run totals. 11-1, Boston has the lead here, and Ivaldi continues on. Has not pitched more than 6 since the 4th of August. But there is the high-stress pitching in a close game with men on base, and then there is this kind of pitching, right?
Right.
There's another speed you can click down to, especially with his arm.
I don't know, just throwing. He's been throwing strikes. That's been the most important thing. Remember, has not thrown into the 7th inning when he threw 8 innings on August 4th, like you said. That start was against the New York Yankees.
Don't think they didn't want to win it in Boston. They certainly did.
11th inning in a 5-5 game. Voight hits it to deep left. American League Championship Series over. The Boston Red Sox have won the final. The biggest comeback in postseason baseball history.
Those were the 3 prior meetings. This is a division series matchup, a first. And it looks like it's headed to a Game 4 with Boston up 2-1. Not some baseball to be played, you never know. Don't rule it out. Ian Kinsler will enter the game to play second base. That moves Brock Holt over to first base as Alex Cora will tighten up defensively. Get Steve Pearce out of the game. And so Ivaldi carries on. 7th inning at Yankee Stadium. He will face Gary Sanchez to start it. Ivaldi has been a strike thrower tonight. 61 strikes, 21 balls thus far. And now 83 pitches make it 62 strikes thrown. And that was the big key coming into this game. Both managers pointed it out.
Well, a lot of times you get in trouble against the Yankees by trying to be too perfect, too fine. You end up being behind the hitters. He has been aggressive and has gone after these difficult home run hitters of the Yankees.
He's faced 24 batters tonight, has Ivaldi. 19 of 24 he has gotten ahead of with strike 1. Does so in this at bat. That is a wicked breaking ball. A swing and a miss. Stuff still electric. You know, you look at a guy like Ivaldi, and remember, it's his first year back from surgery. 2 surgeries. Usually the command is the issue when you come back from the Tommy John surgery. Velocity returns quickly, but it's that accuracy and control. Had a lot of studies done, and I know there's a Tommy John craze going on, especially in the amateur ranks. But it has not been proven that you come back throwing harder. I think that does swirl in some circles. That is not the case. But you do come back pain-free. So, you know, a guy like Ivaldi tried to pitch through it, rehab it, try to avoid surgery, do all you can to avoid surgery.
I know this for sure. When you come back from it, certainly older.
Right. Yeah, there's fewer throws remaining. So the earlier you have it, you're minimizing the mileage. There's a called strike 3 as Ivaldi hits 100 here in the 7th inning. On his 88th pitch of the night, he fires one in triple digits on the outside corner. Wow. Just wow.
Paint a nice framing by Vasquez. If you'd even have to frame 100.
Ivaldi pitching on 8 days rest tonight. Pitching on his 9th day. We gave you that note early. When he pitches 6 or more days rest, his ERA is 0.36. That makes perfect sense for a pitcher coming back from surgery, getting that extra time. And I'm sure that will go into the decision making as this postseason continues, as long as it continues for Boston. He was available in the bullpen in Game 1.
You know, you just saw that graphic, 20 of 25 first pitch strikes. I think you have to really know the full arc of Ivaldi's career to understand how far he's come. This is a pitcher early in his career. He could always throw 100. Very rarely threw it over the plate. He was a great pitcher who was unrefined, who needed development, but was kind of not rushed to the big leagues, but in an organization that needed pitching.
And Duhar fouls it away. Now the rookie is 0 for 2, a couple of ground outs to second base tonight. Possible rookie of the year in the American League with 27 homers, 92 driven in. Yankees have had this youth movement. They've got a great young core, and now all competing in the postseason, part of the regular wheel. I think you talk to the Yankees prior to last season. I think they felt like they were ready to go into a bit of a rebuild. The Yankees version of a rebuild, not a long one, but then they make it to the postseason. There's a swing and a miss for back-to-back strikeouts for Ivaldi. They end up in the wild card game last year. They got down early in that wild card game, and then if you put yourself back in that moment, it's like, here we go again. Maybe they're a little early to the game. They not ready. Falling behind the Twins in the first inning. Severino couldn't get out of the first inning. They come back to win that game, and then they ride it out. Down 2-0 to the Indians in the division series round, win the next 3, and then of course go into the American League Championship Series against the Astros. Yeah, much different story for the pitching tonight. All those pitchers used in the first 2 games. Ivaldi's the lone name here in game 3, cruising along.
Well, the one thing I've seen from Ivaldi that I haven't seen before, he's had the good cutter, he's had the 100 miles an hour, split finger, but I think his breaking pitch that he's thrown tonight, maybe 10-15% of the time, has been the best I've seen him have.
Tough to make a name for yourself when you're from Alvin, Texas, as a pitcher, a hard-throwing pitcher. That was the hometown of Nolan Ryan. Bouncing ball.
Kinsler's first chance, and Ivaldi just getting stronger and stronger. 3 up, 3 down, picks up 2 more Ks. Stretch time at Yankee Stadium, all Boston tonight in game 3. The 2018 American League Division Series is presented by T-Mobile. Sums up the night for Yankee fans tonight. Hanging in there, trying to maybe see Judge hit one more time. It is 11-1 Boston. We're in the 8th inning, and the Yankees have a new pitcher on the mound, Stephen Tarpley. Certainly Aaron Boone hoping to get a couple of innings out of him, perhaps.
Making his postseason debut.
Outstanding year in the Yankee system. A 194 earned run average. Just 10 games in the big leagues, but that left-handed arm, and a pitcher the Yankees would like to get going in a big league career and in the postseason. Get his feet wet. Good opportunity to do it here tonight. He's got Devers leading the way. Devers, Kinsler, and Brock Holt. Dustin Pedroia having a chat with Xander Bogaerts, staying engaged. And a little chopper off the plate, and it's off the glove in fair territory. That'll be an infield hit. Rafael Devers with his second hit of the night.
Well, one of those plays where you're trying to field it in the air, and Tarpley just didn't look it in.
Now, not going to be an easy play, even if he catches it. He's got to gather. He's in the baseline at that point with Devers running down the line.
Maybe an easier play for a right-handed pitcher, almost impossible for a lefty.
First at bat of the game for Ian Kinsler. 3 postseason games today, and 2 of them with double-digit scoring. Astros beat the Indians 11-3. Houston advancing to the ALCS. They'll await the winner of this series. The defending world champs moving on. Got a 3 RBI game from Marwin Gonzalez, who continues to perform in the postseason. Carlos Correa drove in 3 as well. Correa homered. A 3-run home run in the 8th inning off Brad Hand. That was one of the many put-away punches late for Houston. They banged out 13 hits today, did the Astros. And a quick out for the Indians after running away with their division. Well, we caught this between innings. That would tell you that Nathan Ivaldi's night is done.
How to win friends and influence people. 7 strong.
Handshakes off to the clubhouse. Pack it nice. And Heath Hembry is getting loose.
Hi.
Tarpley 3-1 on Kinsler. 3-2 now. Hey, think about Cleveland. I'm wondering about their offseason. What happens next with the Indians? They've lost 9 of their last 11 postseason games. Up 3-1 in the World Series against the Cubs. Knocking at the door, their first World Series title since '48. The Lou Boudreau-led Indians. There's a bouncing ball through. Kinsler, his first at bat, comes through with a single. So Kinsler now with 3 hits in this division series, 3 for 9, including a double. Don't forget, we'll run them back tomorrow. TBS is your home for the American League Division Series in the AL postseason. ALDS presented by T-Mobile tomorrow. Pre-game coverage at 7. Game coverage at 8. It'll be Game 4, Red Sox, Yankees, and then Game 1 of the NLCS is Friday on FS1. That'll be at 8 Eastern. Dodgers playing at Miller Park against the Brewers.
You know, in a year that we've spent talking so much about openers and bullpenning, To get through the Astros, you're going to have to get through their rotation.
Yeah, no question. As good as it gets. Best rotation going right now among the teams that remain. And the Astros with ace after ace after ace. Verlander sitting at the top of that rotation, and Garrett Cole. Astros had Keuchel on the mound today for Game 3. He went 5 innings and 2 runs. They backed McCullers into that bullpen. They had a great run last season, got some key contributions from their pen, but they hit. They hit well against the Dodgers. And I read back in the World Series. That one's driven into right center field. Brock Holt. And on the chase, that is going to bounce up and out. Have a night, Brock Holt. It's a ground rule double. Devers will score the run. It's an RBI double for Holt, who has 3 runs batted in, is a home run shy of the cycle right now. Single, triple, double at a 3-for-5 night.
Just a fastball up and over the plate from Tarpley to Holt. Doesn't get any hotter than that for Brock.
Makes it 12-1 and a little shimmy. Red Sox are having fun tonight at the Yankees' expense. We just can't get to the finish line fast enough if you're Aaron Boone and the Yankees. That's a great thing about baseball, though. You can flip it quickly. And the Red Sox have done that. That was a pretty low clubhouse after the loss on Saturday night. Felt like they were in a position maybe to strike and come back. They were down 3-1 until Gary Sanchez just sucked the life out of Fenway Park with that 3-run home run. But it flips fast. Going to be a few guys in that Boston clubhouse that show up tomorrow and say, what do I got to do to get in the lineup, Skipper?
That's right.
Be interested to see that lineup tomorrow. With CC Sabathia on the mound, that's going to go back to the screen, and Kinsler holds his ground.
You got a young 25-year-old first postseason game, and we saw that with some of the young relievers for the Red Sox in Game 1. Just the nerves, taking the best of it.
Still nobody out. Every time I see that angle right there, remember in the old Yankee Stadium, and that camera angle was on that side. You don't see it much anymore. Reminds me of Ron Guidry. Game looks different from that side. Pretty common though viewing experience for Yankees fans back in the days in the 80s. Back when Phil Rizzuto would have a regular entry into a scorebook of WW, which stood for wasn't watching.
Well, Phil be gone by now.
Oh, you're right. He'd just get up and leave. That happened too. "3-2 pitch, and a bouncer right to Voight. Kinsler's going to stay put. A veteran move. And there is the first out. It's one of the great things about coming here to Yankee Stadium. You can't go 2 feet without bumping into a monument or a banner or a picture of the legends and the scooter. Holy cow. Loved watching his games. No trip like Monument Park in baseball. No experience like that. You walk in the service tunnel down to the Yankee clubhouse. If you're a Yankee player and you pass by these giant murals of the legends.
Well, there's just so many.
Right. They just come at you in waves. And every day you walk into this ballpark, especially if you're wearing those pinstripes, you realize the uniform you wear and the pride involved. They've done a beautiful job here in this stadium. You walk around the concourses, it's immaculate. And at every turn you can go back in history. As Tarpley throws that one to the screen, and now Kinsler will score the run to make it 13-1 on a wild pitch, extremely wild pitch. Can be a lonely place on that mound. I think if you gave both managers the option to take it to the house, they'd take it at this point. That one almost hit him as well. 3 balls and a strike on Jackie Bradley Jr.
Jackie Bradley Jr. is like, wait a minute, I'm trying to play game 4 too. One behind him. One just missed him.
I hate to bring this up. And it's probably totally out of line in a postseason.
Are we close to a position player?
Well, considering this year was the most position players ever to pitch in a game, it would almost seem appropriate. Blasphemous at the same time.
It would spice up the entertainment value, but man, that would be tough. Larry Rothschild just trying to find somebody to get some outs. Feel bad for Tarpley. This is one of those games. I mean, you're on a big spotlight, national television playoff game, standing on an island out there when it's all going right for Boston. And a base hit by Mookie Betts is going to drive in another run. It's 14-1. Relentless Red Sox on a Monday night at Yankee Stadium. Second RBI for Mookie Betts.
We've got a football score for the Red Sox on this Monday night.
Well, it will give Alex Cora a chance to get into his bench a little bit. Blake Swihart will get an at-bat. He is the third catcher, but he's more than that. A versatile utility man, can play all over, infield, outfield. He's hitting for Benintendi.
That's why they carried the third catcher, because Sandy Leon, who caught the first 2 games, if they had to hit for him early, versatility of Swihart so important.
Second through the 4th. 10 runs and 11 hits in those 3 innings, and they've added 3 more in this 8th. 14-1 on 17 hits. Largest home loss in Yankee postseason history, 11. They're down 13 now. That's happened twice. 96 Braves and the 2001 Mariners. That was the Andrew Jones 2-homer game, the 96 Braves.
2001 Seattle Mariners, who won 8 more games than the Red Sox during the regular season.
Incredible regular season win total. And that number that was out there, Swihart strikes out. That number that was out there by the Mariners, I think, afforded Alex Cora to pull the reins in the last week of the season. Not that he's not wanting to win every game, but was able to play a lot of guys. You minimize your innings for your starters. Started to do things once they had set the franchise record, which they set, by the way, in 154 games. So the old record, the 1912 Red Sox, 105 wins in that kind of schedule. Bouncing ball by Martinez, and the out at second base. The inning comes to an end. 3 more on the board. Making our way to the finish line. He's still happy. He knows he's got another game. Ernie, Kenny, Chuck, and Shaq are all back for NBA opening night on TNT. It's presented by Auto Trader. First, Kyrie Irving and the Boston Celtics to host Joel Embiid and the 76ers, a playoff rematch from a year ago. It's followed by Oklahoma City and Golden State, the defending champion Warriors. Check your local listings. Defensive changes, Ron. Jackie Bradley Jr. goes from center field to left. Betts goes to center. Blake Swihart, after his at-bat, will stay in the game and play right field.
Playing the short field. Right.
A volleyball rotation.
Heath Embry in the game for the Red Sox on Saturday night. He pitched 2 innings, got a couple of double plays.
Deals a strike to Brett Gardner. By the way, I want to say hello to our colleague Ernie Johnson Jr. And had some health issues, blood clots in his leg, unable to travel, and he's doing well. He passed along that he's doing well. He just can't fly, and that's why he was not part of our postseason coverage this year. One of the greatest in just about every category, including human being. And we're thinking about you, Ernie. Hope things are going well. He is still working, not getting off that easy. They've got him in the studio at NBA TV and on TNT, and so we know you're out there, EJ, and we're thinking about you, pal. Kinsler will put this one away for the first out. Well, Nathan Ivaldi is among the headlines tonight. Red Sox offense certainly will grab their fair share, but how about his last 4 starts against the Yankees? 7 innings tonight, only 1 run. Just dominant numbers against his former team.
Just what the doctor ordered for the Red Sox, because they were leaking some oil in that bullpen and needed that kind of effort, and they got it. It resets them for this whole series.
So talk us through the Red Sox bullpen, though. They're a bullpen because they did have a short start in the opener. They got out, scored a lot of runs, which helped. But it wasn't a typical Sale 6, 7, 8 inning dominant performance. He was out of there in the 6th inning. And then, of course, David Price couldn't get through the 2nd inning. So we haven't quite seen the A-lister, the order bullpen for Alex Cora just yet as Eduardo Rodriguez gets loose.
Except I think they had something very important happen in the last game, even though it was a defeat. You know, their starter didn't last, David Price, and they had to bring in Joe Kelly. And Joe Kelly, that's as good as I've seen him throw the baseball. And when he throws the baseball like that, he can be your setup man. So with Kelly maybe throwing that way, Barnes maybe after his first shaky outing coming back, doing what he can do. Brazier was better in his second outing than he was in his first, and Kimbrel's Kimbrel.
You get a sense the Red Sox feel like they are now jump-started in this postseason, getting some of those nerves out of the way, specifically from Ryan Brazier and Brandon Workman to some extent. And what you do with David Price is lingering, though. This is a 5-game series at its max, so it is possible you're not going to need Price. You certainly don't have him in a starting role any longer. If it does go to a Game 5, it would be Sale.
Yeah.
And Alex Cora did say before the game that David Price is available in the bullpen the rest of the way. He's actually been good in the postseason out of the bullpen, David Price. Not so much as a starter. McCutchen skies this one to right. And it'll be Kinsler out in front of Swihart for out number 2.
Well, the real edge, when you think about it, is that, especially with the acquisition of Robertson and Britton, is that you're looking at the Red Sox have one Craig Kimbrel. The Yankees have 4 of them. But if the Red Sox are going to put on an offensive display like they did tonight, you don't ever get to those 4, so it doesn't matter. That's where the edge is. The Yankees get up early in the game, have a lead, and then they go to those talented relievers who all have been closers in parts of their career.
2 gone for Aaron Judge. And I'm guessing a lot of people still in the ballpark wanting to see this at bat because he has homered in each of his first 3 postseason games this season, which matches a Yankee record for homering in consecutive games to start a postseason, a franchise record. And he almost hit one out of here in his first at-bat of the night. Aaron Judge sent a long line drive out to deep right field in the first inning. Neil Walker on deck. I'm sure he would love to get an at-bat. Might see him in the starting lineup tomorrow. That's a possibility with Porcello on the mound. Neil Walker's a switch hitter.
Like him as a left-handed hitter, though.
Had one to hit. Fouls it away. Judge has 8 hits in the postseason this year. 8 for 15. 3 home runs, 4 RBIs. He's walked twice.
Well, it doesn't happen very often in a postseason game where your first reliever for one side comes in to start the 8th.
Emery was a late add to this division roster after Game 1. That was the injury to Stephen Wright, which was discovered following Game 1, knee injury. If Wright comes back, it would have to be that the Red Sox make it to the World Series. Once you're taken off an active postseason roster, you are also ineligible for the next series, should you advance. So Hembree gets that spot, and he strikes out Judge. 1-2-3 inning, 9 in a row retired by the Red Sox bullpen. 14 runs on the board, their most against the Yankees.
Time now for our ready to go moment. It's presented by Supercuts, official hairstylist of MLB. And the man who used to have big league hair, still good hair, but Andrew Benintendi with a 3-run double and an early game breaker for the Boston Red Sox, part of a 7-run 4th inning.
Well, I'm in a little trouble here, Brian. I can't find number 28 in the bullpen notes.
Yep, we have a position player on the mound in the 9th inning. Austin Romine. I think he had to take the eye black off. Number 28 in your program is not listed in the bullpen. Hot ground ball to Andujar. And out number 1. Austin Romine. What's your scouting report on Austin Romine making his first ever pitching appearance?
Well, he will drop arm angles on you. He'll change speeds. Yeah, he has a little a slider that he'll use that really doesn't break. It just spins in the middle of the plate. But I don't care what you say. I'm sure he's nervous out there pitching this inning.
Hey, whether you, what was that, a knuckleball?
It looked like it.
That was a 64-mile-an-hour pitch that had something interesting to it. That's his heater right there.
The thing about pitchers and players is that pitchers usually have to listen to players talk about how great they were in high school or college, or what a pitcher they were. They used to strike out everyone, and then they finally get on the mound, and breaking 80 is an issue.
The 2-1. He's working fast. He's throwing strikes.
Nice.
Gregorius makes a play. It's 2 up and 2 down. By the way, that's Neil Walker over at first base, but who cares? This is a big story. Austin Romine on the mound. Whether you lose by 13 or 1, it hurts the same, but at least there's a little entertainment value here. You never want to be in this position, but there are 3 outs to get to try to finish up Boston offensively. You don't have to use a reliever. It is for a purpose, and Romine will have a memory for a lifetime. And so will Ron Darling with the scouting report on Austin Romine.
And so will the fans who stayed here, right?
Sure, at El Toro High School in Orange County, where his number is retired. They'll have to add big league position player / pitcher. Seriously, that's got something to it more than just.
I think that's just
a changeup.
It's called the stall.
Oh,
pitch.
Is it splitter?
It gets there about halfway and then stops.
How about the gas right there? 87 blew it right by him. He's going to get a huge ovation when he leaves this game. It's already happening. 2-2 the count. Position player pitching.
91.
Kinsler's worst nightmare, to face a position player in any game, especially a postseason game.
I think that's his change, but who would know?
Tight zone. We didn't think ahead to get the pitch grips of Austin Romine before we started.
It's kind of the lob as he's laughing. Just takes a little off. That's funny.
Would that be the dead fish?
Yes.
That ball's ripped down the right field line. That is a fair ball home run, and the cycle for Brock Holt. He hits for the cycle in a postseason game. So what if it's off a position player? History for Brock Holt. Single, triple, double homer. 16-1 Boston. And a night Brock Holt will never forget.
Down and in. Off Romine. No one's going to remember when they're talking about World Series, talking about ALDS moments.
Fly ball in the left field off the bat of Vasquez. That one is foul.
You know, the player who pitches, you see Holt's reaction with the cycle. I mean, you can't have a better game.
Brock Holt did have a cycle 3 years ago on June of 2015. He's done it before. No scenario like this. A cycle in a postseason game. Wow. 5 RBIs, 4 hits. The guy who was swinging the hottest bat among the Red Sox when this postseason started. And it's 2-2. Romine just trying to get to the end here.
It's all fun and games until the first guy takes you deep. And then
that's exactly. What a bummer.
Yeah.
You're right. A bummer for Romine. He'll fly ball to right. And Judge is there. Well, he did it. Austin Romine picked up the last 3 outs. Did you ever imagine you'd see a pitcher who was a position player in the postseason, and with the Yankees no less? But Brock Holt has a memory forever. He's hit for the cycle in a postseason game.
By Charles Schwab. Own your tomorrow. By Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. By T-Mobile. Whether you're home or away, T-Mobile has you covered. And by Midas. Trust the Midas touch.
This 2018 American League Division Series is presented by T-Mobile. And we have a little history here tonight, courtesy of our friends at Elias, hustling to check the record books. Brock Holt has hit for the first cycle in postseason history. Eduardo Rodriguez is on the mound for Boston, so he'll try to clean it up for the Red Sox here tonight.
2 nights ago, he delivered the pitch that Gary Sanchez hit 479 feet for that 3-run home run.
Now we know there's been a pitching performance by a position player in the postseason before. Cliff Pennington for the Jays back in 2015. He made his first pitching appearance ever in that game, as did Austin Romine here tonight. But to hit for the first cycle in postseason history, that's up there on the list for Brock Holt. He's got one for a lifetime. 4 hits. It goes single, triple, double homer. And 5 runs batted in. 16-1. Red Sox lead it. Neil Walker's first at bat of the game.
I mean, you get to the yard, you see your name in the lineup, just want to give 3 or 4 tough ABs. Next thing you know, you're making history.
And a pretty good bet he is going to be a bench player tomorrow, unless Alex Cora changes his mind, which could happen after a night like this. But before the game, he was pretty well set on with Sabathia on the mound as Rodriguez picks up a strikeout. And he was going to go back to his right-handed hitters. The home run from Holt, StatCast AI, powered by Amazon Web Services. 355-foot homer, leaves the bat nearly 106 miles an hour. They knew it. The cycle has been achieved. The hitting anomaly. Ground ball over to third base. Devers takes care of Stanton for out number 2. Saw Christian Yelich hit for the cycle 18 days apart this season.
That's right.
2 cycles for him.
Mookie had a cycle. Mookie Betts had a cycle earlier in the year. So I was looking at the positions on the field for the Red Sox. Where can I shoehorn Mr. Holt? 5 times he played third base this year. That might be a place you can put him in.
No, that's a good thought. You'd have the right-handed hit Nunez, the lefty Devers. That'll be interesting. You unravel the mess of this game, right?
Yeah.
If you're a Yankee and you start to prepare for tomorrow, and you're going to have CC Sabathia on the mound and your season on the brink. But they've done it before. Remember, they were down 2-0 in the division series last year and came back. They're going to have to beat Porcello and Sale, the 2 scheduled starters. Adeiny Echeverria getting his first at-bat of the night. Baseball is a game of quick turnarounds. And there will be better days for the Yankees. And I'm sure the message on the other side is going to be wipe this one out fast as you can. I mean, this is not a team that you beat 16-1, right? These are evenly matched ball clubs, the Yankees and the Red Sox. Red Sox had the narrowest of margins in the season series this year, 10-9.
Just one of those days that you have to just concern yourself with tomorrow. Before the series started, these teams, even though one won 108 games, the other won 100. Pretty evenly matched. And before the series began, really could envision this going 5 games.
Echeverria draws a 2-out walk, to the delight of Yankees fans who get a chance to see Gary Sanchez swing the bat. It was his home run off of Eduardo Rodriguez that was the game breaker in game 2. That 3-run blast that cut through the Boston night and all the way out of the stadium. And he does get another swing. Echeverria takes off. Swing and a miss by Sanchez. No stolen base there. Defensive indifference is how you account for Echeverria to second. No balls, 2 strikes. The Yankees down to their last strike here in this 9th inning.
You know, I was thinking, although he's a much different pitcher than he was early in his career when CC Sabathia used to just dominate lineups, I don't know if you'd want anyone else other than the veteran lefty to be out there with the most important game that you'll have this season for the Yankees.
Now you'll have Sabathia in a well-rested, loaded bullpen. So he knows it's not imperative he goes 7, 8 innings. That's not even really in the cards anymore for Sabathia. Sanchez on the ground. Jump throw to first base. And a good one to win the game. Nice play to win the game. The Boston Red Sox with 16 runs on 18 hits and the first ever cycle in the postseason by Brock Holt. A big Game 3 win for the Red Sox here tonight. A 7-run fourth inning. And it set them up to win Game 3 of this series and put themselves in a position tomorrow night with a win to advance to the ALCS in a matchup with the Houston Astros.
Can I possibly talk in a game that 16 runs were scored about the starting pitcher for the Red Sox? Well, I will. I think it was just so important that Ivaldi came out and gave them a great effort. He gave them an unbelievable effort, going 7 innings, kind of booted their bullpen. What a Game 4 we got tomorrow.
Well, the team that led the majors in batting average and on base and slugging and runs scored hangs 16 on the board tonight. A record-setting performance for the Red Sox. Most runs they've ever scored in the postseason against the Yankees. And Alex Cora and the Red Sox now up 2-1 in this best-of-5 series. And let's send it down to Brock Holt. I wonder, Lauren, if he knows he has just made Major League history.
I'm going to tell him, VA, first cycle in postseason history belongs to you. How does that sound, Brock?
Is that the first one ever?
Yes.
I was kind of thinking. I was wondering if there ever was one. But
now you know.
It was a fun night. You know, offensively we were clicking on all cylinders. Put together a lot of good at bats, and it was fun.
You haven't played. Oh! Gentlemen, he told me to watch out. Woo! You haven't played in over a week. How'd you stay so ready?
I don't know. I was kind of wondering that same thing. We haven't played since. Yeah! Oh, yeah, baby! Woo! That away, boy. Where you go? Yeah, just trying to stay ready. You know, when your name's called. Do what you can to help out. And tonight's tonight. Yeah. Yeah, tonight's a night I'll remember for a long time.
What can you say about the length Ivaldi gave you tonight?
He was unbelievable. That's what we needed. He gave it to us. 7 innings. He was unhittable tonight. So I think he kind of set the tone for us, and offensively we were able to score some runs, and the rest is history. So hats off to him.
You've been on first-place teams, last-place teams in your 6 years here. What's so special about this team?
Just a special group from day one. AC came in and kind of changed the tone around the clubhouse, and we all root for each other. We're all pulling for each other, and as tonight shows, we can do some special things as a group.
You made history. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
VA, Ron.
All right, thanks, Lauren. Good job. Thanks to Brock Holt. Red Sox snap a Yankees home winning streak in the postseason of 7 straight. And they win this one 16-1. Boston 3 consecutive postseason wins in the Bronx. Our final score tonight, 16-1 Boston. And they lead this best-of-5 series 2-1. Coming up after the short break, the postseason show with Casey Pedro, Chef, and Jimmy Rollins. For Ron Darling and Lauren Shahadi, the rest of our terrific crew, I'm Brian Anderson saying so long from Yankee Stadium. You've been watching the 2018 American League Division Series presented by T-Mobile on TBS, your exclusive home for the 2018 American League postseason. So long, everybody.